It's time to remember that.
Do you remember?
With Kyle Sandell.
Presented by Matt Larson, Farm Bureau agent, located downtown Midland. Well, we got the NBA draft coming up tomorrow night, and for the first time in quite some years, the Pistons don't have a lottery pick, don't have a top 5 pick, and for the first time in 7 years, they don't have a first-round pick at all. Now, it goes back a little bit to the Isaiah Stewart trade up in 2020, blah, blah, blah. It was a Troy Weaver move. It doesn't matter to this point. Just know they don't have a first-round pick in this year's draft. But that doesn't mean that the Pistons should stay quiet this offseason and not make some sort of move. The biggest moves of the Pistons offseason these last couple years have come via the draft, right? You draft a guy top 5, that's probably your biggest move because they've not been too aggressive to rush the process, right? You just drafted Jaden Ivey. You just drafted Asar Thompson. Cade Cunningham, obviously first overall. That's your biggest move of the offseason. They haven't had to do anything crazy. Well, they're not going to have that option to do so in the draft. So what is their big offseason move going to be? Because you have to have something, right? You've got the Tobias Harris $26 million expiring contract staring at you in the face. It's the most easily upgradable spot on the team. You need a reliable number 2 guy next to Cade Cunningham. We all hope it can be Jaden Ivey, but why not just go acquire that guy right now with the Tobias Harris salary? We'll see what the Pistons do now that we've officially hit the NBA offseason. Remember that. Presented by Matt Larson, Farm Bureau agent, located downtown Midland.
Transform your outdoor space with Maple Hill Nursery. Whether you're a gardening enthusiast or just looking to relax in style, they have everything you need. From premium polywood furniture that never needs painting to top quality plants and trees, Maple Hill Nursery has it all. Plus, they offer free setup and delivery on in-stock barbecue grills. Visit them today just north of Midland Mall or check out their website for pro tips and expert advice. Maple Hill Nursery, making your yard the place to be.
Celebrate 4th of July with the Great Lakes Loons. Join us for our block party on Main, presented by the Michigan Army National Guard. Celebrate America's independence with face painting, balloon animals, the inflatable zone on the front lawn, and of course, America's pastime. The evening wraps up with a spectacular fireworks loontacular, presented by Farm Bureau Insurance. For tickets, visit loons.com. This isn't just baseball, it's the Great Lakes Loons, everyone's hometown team. Scrolling? Make it count. Want local sports content that actually matters?
Yeah.
100.9 The Mitt is loaded with local highlights, viral plays, breaking sports news, and takes you can't get enough of.
It's hot!
Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube today, and you'll never be out of the loop on the Lions, Tigers, Pistons, Red Wings, Michigan State, and even the biggest stories in high school sports in the Great Lakes Bay region. 100.9 The Mitt, Mid-Michigan's sports leader. From the Blazy Electric Studios, this is Sports Radio 100.9 The Mitt, WLUN, Pinconning, Bay City, Saginaw, Midland. Michigan sports aren't just a game, they're a way of life. And now we've got a show dedicated to die-hard sports fans like you. Hosted by a guy who's borderline obsessed with the wins and losses of all your favorite teams.
He's crazy.
Every weekday morning from 9 to noon, Ben Bosscher brings you the talk that matters. The teams, the stories, and the players you care about most. This is the Ben Bosscher Show. Appointment radio across the state.
Remember that. Hello, and good morning. Welcome into the Ben Bosscher Show, live from the Blazy Electric Studio on this Tuesday morning. Kyle Sandell behind the glass, as always. Ben Bosscher here with you. We've got a jam-packed show for you today. We'll get to some Tigers All-Star voting. Got a little bit of Lions coming up in the 10 o'clock hour. But before we get to that, no Tigers yesterday. It's a rare no Tigers, no Loons game day. And with the Dow Championship in town, we had rocked the block last night. That's how I spent my off day mostly. So I filled in for Huge yesterday downtown. You get out and everything is just dandy downtown Midland. You got music. You got Huge doing a little, hosting a little event downtown for Rock the Block to kick off to the Dow Championship week. I had a good it's not an off day because we did a show, Kyle, but it always is strange when you end up not having something to watch on a Monday night or a weeknight in general, because this is kind of the job. You go home, you watch the Tigers, you recap it the next morning, and when they're not playing, I almost feel like I'm lost as to what to do, you know?
Yeah, especially with no other sports going on. Some other days it's like, at least NBA playoffs is on, Stanley Cup Finals is on. No, there's just nothing, man. We're
entering the dark territory. Like, the next month until football season starts is probably the worst month of the year of the sports calendar, because it's before, the MLB or Major League Baseball really kicks into high gear and the playoff race begins. You do have the trade deadline and the All-Star game, but I don't know. That doesn't seem like it's as much of a draw as it once was. Same thing with the home run derby. And then until training camp starts, there's not really any football activity going on. You're not really getting any football updates. It's not going to stop us from talking about the Lions a little bit later on in the show. But now that the NBA and NHL playoffs have wrapped up, you've got those drafts, and then after that, it's kind of the dead period for the sports calendar. Maybe a couple majors in there for golf. I mean, we do have the LPGA Tour coming to town, which something something I didn't know I would like as much as I did last season, and I had so much fun there that this is kind of something I've been looking forward to here for the past couple of weeks now. And now that it's here, it's something I'm pumped up about. We'll be doing the show from there for the next 3 days, starting tomorrow.
I can't wait. Like, I've never been to an LPGA event before, been to a PGA event. I'm just super excited, man. I love watching golf. I think it's, from my experience at the PGA Championship last year, like I said, just the one time I've been, it was, I don't want to say my favorite sporting event to attend, but it's just the most unique. And so that's what made it feel like my favorite.
Weren't you at the event that Scotty Scheffler got arrested at?
Yeah.
Did you watch him get arrested?
Valhalla. No, I did not watch him get arrested, but it delayed our time to leave because it delayed everything, basically.
That was a crazy day last summer. For some reason, my memory served me that was the Masters, but it definitely was not the Masters.
It was the PGA Championship, yeah. It was the event after the Masters.
Okay, well, we're going to have some fun the next couple of days over at the LPGA Dow Championship event. Like I said, something I'm looking forward to. Hey, yesterday when I was talking to Huge downtown Midland, I got an update on the 2-on-2 golf scramble that he has proposed. He's dead serious about it, man. Wow. It's not a joke. He was like, yeah, we're doing this. Like, we'll make some content out of it. You guys can get a handicap, because I was like, I hope you know how bad Kyle and I are. And he was like, oh, don't worry. Like, you guys can get a couple stroke handicap. And I was like, it's gonna be more than a couple strokes to make this thing even.
What's your definition of a couple, Huge?
Well, he was like, I don't know, I'll have like a 10, Brett will have like a 18, you guys can both have like a 20. And I was like, I think we're gonna need more than that many strokes, because he's playing in the Pro-Am this week here at the Midland Country Club. Like, he's good. So, but he was dead set on us getting a scramble going, the two of us, and then him and his producer Superfly, to do a little scramble at some point this summer during a weekend. He's dead set on it. Like, write it in. It's happening.
It's happening. I'm in, dude. I'm excited. Look, that day we went out and played, it's been straight improvement since that day.
Oh, I wish I could say the same, my friend. I wish I could say the same.
There's no way it'll be worse.
Something is wrong with my chipping game, and it has become a disaster, to be quite honest. A disaster.
Well, you're going to be able to watch some tape this week, you know?
Yeah.
Watching film.
Really study up. Maybe get a golfer on, ask for some advice. Can you imagine? We have a golfer on tomorrow, and the first question we ask, so my chipping game, every time I chip a ball, it just goes right over the green. How do I fix it? They're like, who is this guy?
They told me to put my weight on my front foot, and every time I do it, it's just, I can't figure it out.
Like, who is this again? Yeah, I ended up going home after the Rock the Block event. Had a drink downtown, enjoyed it, just kept walking around, getting the steps in, you know. And I ended up going home, and I was like, what on earth do I watch tonight? And I ended up watching just a Dave Chappelle special on Netflix for like the 100th time, because I just can't get enough of it. I can't. I almost threw on that Braves game, and then by the time I got home, I realized Schwellenbach had already been taken out, and he did not get the 6 strikeouts that we needed.
Yeah, you're already upset.
Yeah, and I was like, I'm not turning this on. I'm just going to get angry, even though it was a close game. So I was like, all right, let me hop into Netflix, see what's going on. And I was like, I need a new show to watch. And then, of course, you scroll for like 10 minutes, can't find anything new. and it's like, oh, a Dave Chappelle special that I've seen 11 times? Why not? Let's turn this on because it's going to make me laugh. And sure enough,
I've never really been big on like the comedy specials thing on Netflix, all that stuff.
Really?
It's just not really my thing. Not that I think
Have you
they
given
suck
it
or
a
anything.
try, though? Have you given it an honest try?
It's funny. It's like a group setting thing to me.
Really? To me, you got to find the right person. Like, not every... I don't enjoy every stand-up comedy that they put on there. Or just in general. Like, some people I just don't find very funny. But like Chappelle, Borghese, like, those guys crack me up. I was sitting there in bed. I knew the jokes. I've seen them before, and it just still has me dying laughing to the point where I was like, I got to just shut this and go to bed. I'll watch the second half tomorrow because I'm like wheezing in my bed watching Dave Chappelle
that's
tell a
something
joke
you can't
I've already
watch before
heard.
you go to bed.
But it's so funny. It's so good. You've never seen any of the Chappelle ones specifically?
I probably have. I don't know. It's not my thing.
You're more of a movie guy. Oh, speaking of the movie,
sports guy.
I almost just left in the middle of like watching that. It was like almost 10 o'clock, and I was like, I wonder if I could go see 28 Years Later, like right now. And there was a showtime, and I debated it, but I did not end up going. It wouldn't be the first time I've done that. Just get out of bed and go.
With a show, though, at 9 a.m.?
Yeah, that's what kind of held me back to last night. I was like, probably not the best idea. Hey, we've got a lot of good stuff coming up. Tigers All-Star voting, we're going to get to that in just a second. I also forgot to mention, we're going to get to a little Pistons trade here for a potential Western Conference All-Star, or former Western Conference All-Star. Maybe could be a Detroit Piston here. I want to touch on some Jared Goff stuff because there's been a couple different quarterback rankings that have come out, and once again, Jared Goff just being mad disrespected. In addition to new show coming out that features Jared Goff. I want to get to that and a whole lot more here on the Ben Bosscher Show today. It is a Tuesday. We are having a good time. We're going to have a good day today, Kyle. All right? So let's take a quick time out. When we come back, a little Tigers All-Star voting update because the Tigers have a chance to do something real special here with the All-Star game just over 3 weeks away. You can see it. They're doing something special. You can also see the difference at Midland Eye Care, where your vision is their focus, offering comprehensive eye exams, glasses, contacts, and advanced eye health services. Friendly, knowledgeable staff with a wide selection of stylish frames for every face and every budget, locally owned and trusted by families throughout the Midland area while offering comprehensive eye care services and in-demand lenses with frames. Whether you're updating your prescription or checking in on your eye health, they've got you covered. Book your appointment today and start seeing clearer tomorrow. The Ben Bosscher Show will be right back.
The Ben Bosscher Show, powered by the Forward Corporation on 100.9 The Mitt.
Now, wait a second, Sharon. So the Midland Area Community Foundation runs the Midland Area Santa House?
You bet we do.
And Midland Area River Days?
Absolutely.
Plus scholarships for students and grants for local nonprofits? That's like hitting the cycle and impacting our community.
Anyone can step up to the plate and help build community capital for as little as $5.
$5? That's the cost of a snack at the ballpark. How do I get in the game?
Just visit MidlandFoundation.org and make a gift to our community investment fund. Every dollar makes a difference.
Join the team. Give today at MidlandFoundation.org.
You have better things to do than to job hunt or scramble to find your next great hire. So let Spherion do it. We say local is our superpower because we live and work where you live and work. We know the local job market. We're here in person. And we're locally owned, so you won't find a partner who's more engaged and literally invested in your success. If you're ready for something better, start with Spherion. Visit us online at Spherion.com to find your local Spherion office. Let's get to work.
When the summer heat is on, keep your cool with Answer Heating and Cooling. Our expert team specializes in fast, reliable air conditioning repairs, installations, and maintenance. Stay comfortable all season long with top-notch cooling solutions and simply outstanding service. Plus, with financing options and special rebates, cooling your home has never been more affordable. Answer Heating and Cooling, where comfort is our priority. Try our new schedule online option or call us today.
Wackadoo! Bluey and her little sister Bingo are joining the Great Lakes Loons again this summer for Red, White, and Bluey Weekend presented by My Michigan How. It's 2 games of fun, laughter, and memories with our favorite Blue healer. Whether it's Saturday night or Sunday afternoon, don't miss out. For tickets, visit loons.com. This is the Great Lakes Loons, everyone's hometown team.
Hey, I'm Ben Bosscher.
And I'm Kyle Sandel.
And the two of us are live every weekday on 100.9 The Mitt at 9 a.m. until noon, giving you opinions on the teams that you care about the most.
The Lions, Tigers, Red Wings, Pistons, those teams.
And a whole lot more. Whether we're breaking down a game from the night before, debating the biggest news from the day, or doing a draft or spread picks, we're always having fun. I mean, come on, it's our job to talk about sports. How could we not be having fun?
So if the big games aren't enough for you, if you're a real diehard fan, this show is going to be perfect for you. You can count on us to be your morning sports outlet every day.
The Ben Bosscher Show with Ben Bosscher and Kyle Sandel on 100.9 The Mitt.
Are you an enthusiastic sports fan? Want to have fun and get in on the action?
Heck, yes. That'd be awesome.
Have great attention to detail? Want to stay active?
Definitely.
Want to give back to the student athletes in your community?
Obviously, yes.
Then you'd make an excellent high school sports official. We need more officials in Michigan, because with no high school officials, there are no high school sports. Sign up today at highschoolofficials.com.
The Ben Bosscher Show, powered by the Forward Corporation on 100.9 The Mitt.
Kyle, real quick, just because we were talking about the stand-up comedy, guess who is hosting the 2025 ESPYs on July 16th? A little early news for you.
I just saw that. Shane Gillis. Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Shane Gillis. Not as funny as everyone makes him out to be, but still very funny. But
I feel like perfectly aligned with you on that.
Like, everyone kind of talks about Shane Gillis as like
he's for sure funny.
Yes, and if we're doing like a power rankings of comedians, not all time, but like 2025, he's probably number one. Like, he's got the most stuff going for him right now. It feels like his popularity.
You watch
is
that show of
peaking.
his,
Tires? No, I haven't.
Me either.
I'm not like a huge Shane Gillis guy. Like, I think he's funny, and when he did the Saturday Night Live and hosted that, I thought that was really good. But like his actual stand-ups like almost make me like cringe in a good way, but it's like intentional. I don't know. I like his old stuff a little bit more than I like his new stuff, if that makes sense. He's got some old bits that I wish I could
probably
go
be good
over.
At the ESPYs.
That is,
I mean, the ESPYs is
so
kind of
good.
It's kind of a weird thing anyways, with the just roasting that goes on at it instead of just it being like a sports award show.
Yeah, I think he'll be good at it. I think Kevin Hart, that, like, I don't know, that's kind of just been overdone. I feel like I've seen Kevin Hart host like a sports thing one too many times at this point. He's usually funny.
I feel like I've just
usually
seen Kevin
run.
Hart too many times at this point, honestly.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong. All right, so the Tigers have a chance to do something pretty special here. The first wave of the All-Star voting came out, and you've got until Thursday to vote. And I guess my first takeaway was, wow, the Tigers fans have really shown up here in the All-Star voting, because you've got 3 guys in first place with their positions and a handful of guys in the top 5 for American League voting. And just to put this into perspective, the most All-Star selections the Tigers have ever had was 6. And they did that in 2013, Prince Fielder, Miguel Cabrera, Torrey Hunter, Johnny Peralta, Max Scherzer, Justin Verlander. And they did it in 1961 as well with Rocky Colavito, Al Kaline, Norm Cash, Frank Larry, and Jim Bunning. Great year. That was such a good Tigers run.
Shout out Norm Cash.
Exactly. This season, we'll start at first base. So Vlad Guerrero leading all first basemen in voting. Not by a wide margin over Paul Goldschmidt, who's in second, but considering Spencer Torkelson's about 300,000 votes behind that, I think it's probably safe to say Torkelson is not going to be an all-star this season. And I was like about to get on my high horse and say, well, this is ridiculous. Vlad Guerrero's just got the name to it. And then you actually look it up, and Vlad Guerrero's kind of having an upper year, a better year than he's had in the past couple. So I'm actually totally content with Vlad Guerrero getting that starting spot, kind of the perennial first baseman all-star in the American League. And also, by the way, Phase 2 of voting begins on Thursday. You got to be a top 2 vote getter in this phase for each position. And for outfielders, you need the top 6 guys, and then they will advance and see who gets more votes. So everyone else disqualified after Thursday. That's probably going to be the case for Spencer Torkelson. This doesn't upset you too much, right? It's kind of like, yeah, he's having a great year, a lot of home runs, but that average is probably what's keeping him out of that top 2 spot. And the fact that Paul Goldschmidt and Vlad Guerrero just overall have better numbers than Torkelson this year, other than the home runs.
Yeah, I mean, you'd love for him to get in, obviously, but it's just, you look at the guys in front of him, the amount of other guys the Tigers have that are just having better seasons than Torque, there's still a shot, but he's a pretty good amount of votes off. So,
at the second base position, Gleyber Torres actually leads everyone in voting by almost 400,000, actually over 400,000 votes. Gleyber Torres, first place, Jackson Holiday second, Jose Altuve third, Brandon Lowe fourth, and then Andre Jimenez for the Blue Jays in fifth. So I think it's pretty much a lock. Gleyber Torres is going to be the second base starter for the American League representing the Detroit Tigers. In his first season, like, it's so funny that this was a signing that we kind of brushed over. It's like, okay, Gleyber Torres here, 1-year deal. Yankees didn't really want him that much, and now there's this awkward, like, hey, is he the second baseman? Is Colt Keith the second baseman? Well, Colt Keith's going to be playing first base now that Spencer Torkelson's probably not going to make the team, and he's not only worked his way into being an everyday player, but now he's going to be starting in the All-Star game for the Detroit Tigers, a home run signing by Scott Harris. At third base, actually, let's go to shortstop. Trey Sweeney, a top 5 vote getter. Somewhat of a charity cause there, because at 323,000 votes, he is near 800,000 votes behind Jacob Wilson, who leads all shortstops in the American League. Bobby Witt Jr. second. That's
I was just
crazy
gonna say,
to me.
man. Not only Jacob Wilson being an all-star, having the most votes, but in the Athletics team behind Bobby Witt, like, that's pretty wild from the fans there.
Kansas City fans not doing their job.
They gotta step their game up, man.
We'll see Jacob Wilson tonight in Comerica Park. At third base, Jose Ramirez, no surprise, leading the way by over 1 million votes over second place Alex Bregman, who's sitting at 650,000 votes. Ramirez at 1.7 million. Zach McKinstry here third. And as much as I would love to say, let's get some vote getters here, let's rally the troops, probably too much ground to make up. But not necessarily too much ground to make up to be one of the top 2 vote getters here and pass Alex Bregman, since Alex Bregman is currently not playing baseball. I don't think it's crazy to say Zach McKinstry ends up making it to the second phase and being a top 2 vote getter, depending on how many Tigers fans are voting for him here for the next basically 48 hours. But no chance he's starting at third base over Jose Ramirez. Maybe a reserve in the All-Star game. We'll see, but that's up to the manager.
Is this the biggest shock on the list, though?
No.
No.
Well, there's a shot coming up later.
Rephrase it. Coming into this season, Zach McKinstry potentially being an all-star.
No.
Okay.
No. There's a much bigger shocker later
I see
on.
where you're going with this.
Here we are, the outfield. Aaron Judge, the leading vote getter of every single player in the American League at 2.7 million to be exact. Riley Green with 1.3 million votes in second place, only behind Aaron Judge. That's not the shocking part, though. The shocking part is who is third. Javier Baez with 901,969 votes. As of right now, he would be the starting center fielder in the American League, which is ironic because even though he's played 259 innings at center field this year, he hasn't played there since Parker Meadows returned. Parker Meadows returned June 2nd. So we haven't even done a show where Javi Baez has played center field. It's been that long, yet he is somehow the leading center fielder in the American League over the likes of Mike Trout, Stephen Kwan, Cody Bellinger, even a George Springer, Julio Rodriguez. Javi Baez, of all people, is the starting center fielder if it were to end
that's my boy right there.
Right now.
That's Javier
That
Baez.
right there is the most shocking part of all this. Not Zach McKinstry, not Spencer Torkelson. The fact that Javi Baez, the guy that we all didn't want on this team, we wanted them to just cut their ties, cut bait, and move on, eat the dead money. He is now in position to start at center field in the All-Star game if this voting holds. This is someone who, again, we didn't want on this team, switched positions, and now is somehow in a position to where he might be in the All-Star game in a position he had never played. And probably won't play again this season as long as Parker Meadows is healthy, which is the ironic part about this. Somewhat of a loophole in the All-Star voting, but he's got the qualified innings, 259 of them, so we'll see how this thing plays out. I'm shocked by this, and I guess my biggest takeaway from all of this is the Tigers fans have really shown up here and hopped online and voted for the All-Stars in a way that I didn't really expect. I thought this was going to be mostly Yankees. I thought this was going to be a lot of Astros as we've seen in the years past, but the Tigers fans are really flexing their muscles here and showing the rest of Major League Baseball this is a pretty big market and a strong fan base supporting their guys here. Do I think Zach McKinstry should be an all-star? No, probably not. But the fact that he's third in voting is a huge credit to every Tigers fan out there.
Well, and it's the fact that they don't really have a superstar, right? Which maybe Riley Green is, arguing that case right now with the way that he's been hitting. But I think that just helps it, right? The way that this Tigers team is built, they don't have the Aaron Judge that's going to destroy the vote getters and the Jose Ramirez. Mm-hmm. They're just an all-around team that all these guys contribute. The Tigers fans have completely bought into that. So, yeah, Javi Baez, you're right with this being the most surprising part of it, because not only did you tell me preseason, Javi Baez is going to be starting in the All-Star game potentially. That is one thing. He's going to be starting in center field? You tell me that in March, I don't know what I would have said. So that's definitely the bigger shock over a Zach McKinstry. We can't skip over Dylan Dingler, though, right?
I was just going to say, I'm going to keep going.
Got it.
Dylan Dingler, third amongst catchers. Kirk for the Blue Jays with about 150,000 more votes, and then Cal Raleigh, who's just going to be the starting catcher in the All-Star game because he cannot stop hitting home runs at 1.9 million votes. Dylan Dingler having a great year, but the season that Riley's having is just something else amongst the catchers. As for the DH spot, Colt Keith, fourth in vote getting. Kerry Carpenter qualified as an outfielder, so if you were wondering, he's about eighth in the voting there. And then Colt Keith, fourth in amongst the DHs. Colt Keith kind of just lost in terms of what position he is these days. I don't think he even knows what position he is bound to be for the rest of his career. Is it second? Is it first? Is he supposed to be a third baseman? Is he a DH for life? I don't know. I really don't.
I would think that he's just out on playing second base for the rest of his time as a Tiger. Not just because of Gleyber Torres, but who's coming up in the minor leagues as well.
Then where's he play? He's not going to be a DH for life.
He's the first third DH guy. He just kind of, you toss him around the infield. What he is right now, basically. I think that's what he is for the rest of his time.
So Colt Keith has become a utility player and not even the best utility player on the Tigers, is what you're saying.
Utility player by default. I would not count him as a utility player, personally.
But he doesn't have a true position.
Neither does Zach McKinstry.
But Zach McKinstry is a utility player. But isn't
right? But he can actually play
the definition of. Colt Keith better learn how to play outfield too, man. You may as well. If you're not going to have a true dedicated position, which right now he just doesn't. If they're able to re-sign Gleyber Torres, he should never play second. If Spencer Torkelson doesn't fall off a cliff, which I don't expect him to, he probably shouldn't be playing first base very often. He hasn't been very good at third base, and I get it. There's been limited training there. Didn't take any reps there in spring training, so room to improve. But he's kind of just lost for what position he is for the Tigers, and I don't really know what route they're going to end up taking with him, other than just saying, "Hey, you're going to play a little bit of everywhere," which is the definition of a utility guy. That's not what I think the Tigers signed up for when they gave him an exception.
They don't want that scenario.
No, I don't think they want that scenario. But what's the alternative? Take Gleyber Torres
out of the lineup?
The alternative
is that next year Gleyber Torres doesn't get re-signed, and then Colt Keith just gets that spot until these middle infielders come up to the majors eventually.
Eventually, we're going to need to have a conversation, and I don't think we're anywhere near this yet, but we're going to need to have about Gleyber Torres, yeah. Because is it worth bringing back Gleyber Torres, who's about to be an all-star starter? He's about to earn a ton of money, way more than a one-year, $15 million contract. Is it worth bringing him back if it means it's hindering the ability to sign Skubal? If it's hindering the ability to give Riley Green an extension?
To sign anyone, yeah.
To sign anyone. These are all going to be conversations that we have to have about Gleyber Torres at some point, but it's going to be pretty hard to justify not re-signing him the way that he's played this year for the Tigers, because he's an enormous part of this offense. I know he's not hitting bombs the way that Riley and Torkelson have been this season, but just consistently having the best at-bats of anybody on the team. Impossible to strike him out. He's going to foul off a ton of stuff, not going to swing at stuff outside of the zone.
Plays every day.
He is the highest quality at-bats of anybody on the team. I don't think he's the best player. I don't think he's the best hitter.
And him being the righty adds a ton of value.
Yeah. It's going to be pretty hard to not. That's going to be a tough decision for Scott Harris. Probably the toughest decision of the offseason. And you could say, it's whether or not they re-sign Skubal, but that's not really a tough decision. Obviously, they want to re-sign Skubal. There's not really a decision there. It's more of a what can happen between the two parties to make that happen. Gleyber Torres is legitimately going to come down to, do we want to make this extension? Do we want to make this offer? Because you can make the case for both ways. And I guess I don't know where I land.
And he's earned himself a lot of money this year.
I'm unsure where I land on this yet. I'm going to need to see the rest of the season play out.
Can I throw one more thing in about the All-Star?
Of course.
Kerry Carpenter is just like 50,000 votes off from getting in that top 6. Now, it's against Cody Bellinger.
Wait, would you be voting for Kerry Carpenter the way he's playing right now?
Well, that's what I was going to say. What if Kerry Carpenter has a big week this week, you know?
That'd be ideal. It'd be the
fact
first
that he's
big week
in
he
this
has
spot
in
right
a
now
long
with
time.
the way he's been playing, like, it means something.
Be the first big week he has in quite some time. It's been a rough June for Kerry Carpenter.
And yet he's still one guy out from making the top 6.
We shall see.
Fans are still backing him.
989-837-6125. Let's hit the news when we come back here. It is the Ben Bosscher Show on 100.9 The Mitt.
The Ben Bosscher Show, powered by the Forward Corporation on 100.9 The Mitt.
This past weekend, the Loons wrapped up an 11-game homestand. The Loons took care of business on Saturday and Sunday, as did host Wade DePaula, homering twice. His homer on Saturday was against a lefty. DePaula, who is a lefty, smashed them all season long. As DePaula swings here in the air to center, it's driving Levison back, continuing to carry, and that ball is up and out to deep left center field in the windstream. And DePaula continues to mash lefties. Already had the Midwest League lead with 4 out of 5th. And overall, his 9th, a go-ahead 2-run shot. And it's 6-5. Great Lakes. Next up is 9 games on the road. It starts Tuesday in Fort Wayne. Coverage at 6:50.
Hi, I'm Dr. Brandon Scott at Scott Family Dental in Midland. As someone who was born and raised here, I would like to introduce myself by offering my services as your family dental provider. At Scott Family Dental, our mission is to provide excellent and personalized care using the latest technologies and best practices. Our highly trained and personable staff ensure you will feel comfortable along the way.
Dr. Scott is accepting new patients at 2509 West Wackerly Street next to the US 10 on-ramp. Scott Family Dental, let's bring out your best smile together.
Looking for the perfect golf getaway? Tee up at Sandy Ridge Golf Course, Midland's hidden gem. Whether you're a scratch golfer or just out for fun, Sandy Ridge offers a beautifully maintained 18-hole course, friendly staff, and unbeatable rates, plus a brand new clubhouse. Book your tee time today at sandyridgegolfcourse.com or call 989-631-6010. Sandy Ridge Golf Course, where great golf meets pure Michigan beauty.
Detours driving you bonkers? Ideal Party Store's got your back with the Detour discount. While the Lafayette Bridge is closed, enjoy 10% off select craft beer 6-packs and 10% off 4 bottles of select wine, 750 milliliters or more, with 2 great locations, 908 North Johnson on the east side and 401 Salzburg on the west side. Ideal Party Store makes every detour worth it. Serving Bay City since 1934, we're here to make you the life of the party.
Experience world-class golf and family fun at the Dow Championship. Returning to Midland Country Club June 23rd to the 29th. Come and see top LPGA professionals compete in the only team-based event on the tour. Explore interactive fan experiences, family-friendly activities, and delicious local food vendors. Plus, veterans and children under 17 get in free. Don't miss out. Visit DowChampionship.com today for more information.
At Airden Garcia Insurance Group, they understand not everyone's insurance needs are the same. That's why they're dedicated to working with our clients to provide an insurance plan that's specific to you.
Whether you need life, home, auto, business, and farm, with their team's extensive knowledge and over 100 years combined experience, you can guarantee they work hard to put you in the best insurance position.
The experience matters. Airden Garcia Insurance Group, Farm Bureau Insurance.
Whether you love them or can't stand them, surprises are a part of life. I'm Kevin Spencer, your Midland Edward Jones financial advisor, and I can help you get ready for whatever life throws at you, even the welcome surprises. As your needs change, we can change what you need to do to help you end up where you want to be. And while there is never a good time to experience unexpected costs, we can work together to make them feel a little less unexpected.
Edward Jones financial advisor Kevin Spencer at 416 West Wackerly in Midland, under the green awning.
The Ben Bosscher Show, powered by the Forward Corporation on 100.9 The Mitt.
All right, welcome back in to the Ben Bosscher Show. It is time to hit the news.
The Mitt's Morning Catch.
Alrighty, Ben, let's start things off with the news that I woke up to this morning. I would assume you did the same.
I was so confused when I woke up and saw the Shams bombs, which doesn't hit as same as the Woj bombs.
We've officially, really, not as big as the Woj bombs, huh?
Here's the problem with Shams bombs. Sometimes he doesn't actually have anything to say. Like, he doesn't he operates the same way Jordan Schultz does, where it's like, I've got something. I don't have a story, but I've got something. Time to tweet it. Time to tweet it before anybody else does.
I also trust. After the Lucas stuff, I have full trust in whatever Shams tweets.
No, Shams is. I'm not saying Shams is ever inaccurate, but
right.
Sometimes he has non-stories that make, like, the whole Giannis thing. It's like Giannis is undecided about his future. Like, that's not a real story.
He's open to whatever is to come in his future.
Yeah, I guess the Tyrese Halliburton thing ended up being very true, but, like, he didn't have any details as to what it was at the beginning. There was a whole, 2 days where he was like, yeah, his lower leg isn't 100%. It's like, what is wrong with him then, Shams? What is wrong with him? We need stories.
Right, that's fair.
Sorry.
All right, well, the actual news was the Blazers have acquired Drew Holiday from the Boston Celtics in exchange for Anthony Simons and 2 second-round picks.
Boston just swindling everybody. Like, they bring in Drew Holiday, they trade him, they get him from Portland, they win a championship, and then they give him back to Portland and get a positive return on him for what he is at this point, a diminished version of himself. I know. I wake up
and on a pretty rough contract too.
At this point, yeah. I woke up and I was like, how does Boston get away with this? They never make a bad move. When was the last time Boston really effed up as a franchise with any move they've ever made? They don't do it.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of one, honestly.
They don't do it.
Maybe the Kyrie trade, but it's like that just only worked out because they couldn't re-sign him.
Things just always, they needed to shed cap. They needed to shed salary to get under that cap, and Drew Holiday's the first guy to go. Don't be surprised if they trade Porzingis as well.
Simon's on an expiring contract, so Drew Holiday under contract for multiple years. That's why this made sense for Boston.
Simons probably loves this. It's like, get me out of Portland where we lose most of the games we play and I have to share the ball with all these other developing guards. Boston will probably let him, put him on a long leash. Yeah. No Tatum. It's like Brown's show, but Simons probably gets to shoot the ball a lot more than...
Right.
Maybe not more than he did in Portland.
But he gets to go into the highest three-point volume team in the league.
Right. I think this is a much better fit for him. There's definitely someone out there listening like, who are any of these people?
I'm envisioning a Simons-Pritchard backcourt right now. Maybe the Celtics won't be that good. All right, let's talk about the guy you just brought up in the previous segment. Cal Raleigh hit his 32nd home run last night. Guess who was off, Ben? I texted you this last night.
Oh,
Joey Wentz, man.
Joey Wentz
was on the mound for the Twins, and I was like, no way, dude. Joey Wentz almost puked in my mouth. And then he gave up a bomb to Big Cal Raleigh, his 4th straight game with a homer. He's kind of like putting up a fight for this Aaron Judge has the MVP locked in conversation.
No, I don't think he's putting up a fight for the MVP, but what he's doing is preventing Aaron Judge from winning Triple Crown, which every Tigers fan out there is probably very excited about because that's something that's only happened once in the past 60 years, 70 years. And Aaron Judge kind of on the cusp of being another person to do it. But if Raleigh keeps hitting these home runs, Miguel's going to hold that throne for a little longer.
Yeah, Judge still minus 1,600 to win the American League MVP. Cal Raleigh at plus 550. So, not even getting really good value on Raleigh either, despite leading the league in home runs.
Let's be honest. Aaron Judge is winning MVP.
Probably.
Unless he gets hurt, he's winning MVP.
Yes, of course. More baseball news. Some weird news with Fernando Tatis. We talked about this earlier, but he's filing a lawsuit against this company called Big League Advance in an attempt to avoid the future earnings contract he signed as a 17-year-old. So basically, he signed this contract when he was in the minor leagues as a 17-year-old to receive $2 million at the time in exchange for 10% of his future earnings. And then obviously he signed the $340 million contract several years later. So this company, Big League Advance, is set to get $34 million of that. But then also whatever contract he signs after that, they will get 10% of it. So he's filing a lawsuit against them because apparently it's an illegal deal that they made with him being a minor and everything. Interesting.
But he signed the contract, right?
He did sign the contract, but the lawsuit is that this deal that they made is illegal to make.
What's the name of this company? They're not like
Big
an agency,
League
right?
Advance.
They just approached him and were like, hey, give us, you want $2 million? Give us 10% of your future earnings.
Right.
Somewhat of a risk for that company, but Tatis was like a top 10 prospect when he was that old.
Yeah, you need Tatis to make $20 million at some point, like as a top prospect. I think you're willing to take that chance.
That's
now
interesting.
They're set to get $34 million from him, yeah.
I will be curious to see who wins this lawsuit, because if he signed the contract, he signed the contract. I mean,
Right.
I guess if
I just don't know how legible it is.
I couldn't tell you. Would you sign up for, you get $2 million right now if some company's like, hey, I want 10% of your earnings for the rest of your career?
Yeah, I don't play baseball and I'm not a top prospect, so
yes,
I would do that. Am I going to make over $20 million in my life?
I don't know.
I'm going to take the chance that I don't and take the $2 million right now.
Think, what would you do with the $2 million, though? You could turn that into $4 million.
I'd probably
maybe
like
even
buy
$8
a
million.
house right now.
All right.
Okay.
What's next in the news?
We got some more weird baseball news. The Athletics, the Oaklamento Athletics, whatever you want to call them. Well,
The
they
homeless
claim
Athletics.
they are the Vegas Athletics because they have officially broke ground on their new stadium. Team president Mark Badane says, I have no doubt that this gets done in 2028.
Really? We can't call them the homeless A's anymore.
I mean, we can for 3 more years, apparently, according to their president.
So they're just stuck in Sacramento for another 3 seasons?
I think they're on like a year-to-year type thing there. I would guess
They're
that
like
they
the
just
Savannah
continue
Bananas.
there.
They're on tour. They travel. They
Right,
have
but
no
they're
home.
not just the Bananas. They still belong to a city.
Do they ever actually play in Savannah, though?
I
Or are
doubt
they just
it.
always touring?
I'm not this tapped into Savannah Bananas, and I know you're not.
I hate the
So.
Savannah Bananas.
Yeah.
Yeah,
me too.
I guess good for them. That I can't believe that's 3 years away. Still malpractice by them that they left without knowing where they were going, or had a real structural plan. But if it's finally coming to fruition, good for them.
We get to see him this week, too.
Yeah.
Tigers.
Not the Oakland A's, just the regular old A's in town for 3 games. How'd we go this long into the show without mentioning Happy Scooble Day to you, Kyle?
Of course.
Scooble on the bump,
celebrate
today. Who doesn't celebrate a Scooble Day? It'd be disrespectful to not celebrate a Scooble Day. Scooble on the mound at 6:40. But I need to get to some Pistons talk next. Could the Pistons trade for this Western Conference All-Star? It's coming up here on the Ben Bosscher Show. Hey, listen, it is, in fact, golf season right now. We've got the LPGA Tour in town, the Dow Championship. Events have already kicked off. And if you are like me, you're looking for new places to golf, look no further. Apple Mountain in Freeland is where every round comes with a side of scenic perfection. Championship level course, beautifully maintained, and just the right mix of challenge and fun. Whether you've wrapped up 18, head to Apple Mountain Restaurant for the perfect place for casual elegance and spectacular views. Whether you're playing for score or just soaking in the atmosphere, Apple Mountain is your place to unwind, recharge, and enjoy the game. Apple Mountain in Freeland, minutes away, but miles from ordinary. You won't even know you're in Michigan anymore. All right, when we come back, Pistons All-Star Talk. Let's go. Next.
The Ben Bosscher Show, powered by the Forward Corporation on 100.9 The Mitt.
It is the Scholar Athlete of the Month, proudly presented by Fisher Companies here on Sports Radio 100.9 The Mitt. This month's recipient is Logan Snyder from Bullet Creek High School. With a 3.94 GPA, Logan's a member of the varsity golf team, revitalizing a program that was dormant when he was a freshman 4 years ago. Logan great at golf and in the classroom, and also volunteers, including at the Midland Miracle Fields.
I love working with those kids, and it's always so much fun to see like them getting to play the game we all get to love to play. Just getting to see like them going up to bat, hitting the ball, no matter how far it goes, and they're just super excited. It just warms my heart every time.
Logan will be attending Ferris State in the fall and plans to study in their PGA Golf Management program. To hear the full interview and nominate a local athlete for our scholarship program, visit 1009themitt.com.
Fueled by wonder and powered by science. At Dow, we're imagining better things for our customers and communities. It starts with our commitment to reach carbon neutrality by 2050, designing, building, and inspiring for the world around us. Because when we wonder, the things our world needs could be just one breakthrough away. That's Dow.
Hi, this is Jim Mahoney with Link Technologies. As a business owner, you might be struggling with today's technological advancements in the IT arena and how they could benefit your growing business. Let Link Technologies' talented staff work with you to develop a technology plan custom to your specific needs. We bring 27 years of experience helping businesses and nonprofit organizations just like yours achieve their technology goals. Contact us today and see how the right balance between cloud and on-premise resources can best work for you.
Celebrate 4th of July with the Great Lakes Loons. Join us for our block party on Main, presented by the Michigan Army National Guard. Celebrate America's independence with face painting, balloon animals, the inflatable zone on the front lawn, and of course, America's pastime. The evening wraps up with a spectacular fireworks loontacular, presented by Farm Bureau Insurance. For tickets, visit loons.com. This isn't just baseball, it's the Great Lakes Loons, everyone's hometown team. Scrolling? Make it count. Want local sports content that actually matters? Yeah. 100.9 The Mitt is loaded with local highlights, viral plays, breaking sports news, and takes you can't get enough of.
It's hot!
Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube today, and you'll never be out of the loop on the Lions, Tigers, Pistons, Red Wings, Michigan State, and even the biggest stories in high school sports in the Great Lakes Bay region. 100.9 The Mitt, Mid-Michigan's sports leader. From the hometown heroes to the college legends to the pros on Sunday, 100.9 The Mitt is your home for wall-to-wall play-by-play coverage. High school football, basketball, and hockey.
Region champions for the first time in school history.
Michigan State football and basketball.
Touchdown, MSU!
The NFL, Thursday, Sunday, and Monday night primetime games. And don't think we forgot about your hometown team. The Great Lakes Loons.
That ball's over and out of here.
100.9 The Mitt. This is more than just a lineup. It's a daily ritual for the die-hard Michigan sports fans. At 6 a.m., Anthony Bellino wakes up the state with Spin on Sports.
I do not believe it.
At 9, the Ben Bosscher Show is appointment listening hosted here in the Great Lakes Bay region.
I would like to buy some Casey Mize stock.
America's Best takes over at noon. The Herd with Colin Cowherd.
Well, what about Patrick Mahomes?
And at 3, Bill Simonson brings it home on The Huge Show. Sports Radio 100.9 The Mitt for the most passionate fans in Michigan.
I'm Ben Bosscher, and here's what I think. I think replay should be taken out of basketball entirely. I think 2 super conferences would fix college football. I think the best football, basketball, and baseball players of all time are currently playing. I think the day the Lions win the Super Bowl is going to be the greatest day of my life. I think Monty Williams sabotaged the Pistons on purpose, and you can't convince me otherwise. I think Jim Harbaugh is one of the best coaches of all time, but most definitely cheated, got caught, and ran away. And I think you should tune into the Ben Bosscher Show, fueled by Forward Energy, weekdays 9 to noon on 100.9 The Mitt if you agree with anything I just said.
If you served, we want you to get the health care and benefits you earned. We want you to come to VA.
There's never been a better time to apply. Under a new law called the PACT Act, we've expanded VA care and benefits to millions of people who served and their survivors.
No matter where you served or how long you served, check out va.gov/PACT to learn more about what VA can do for you and your family. Come to VA.
The Ben Bosscher Show, powered by the Forward Corporation on 100.9 The Mitt.
Looking at some text right here, again, 989-837-6125. Dwayne said, Ben, our Tigers, he specifically asked me to read in that voice, our Tigers need 2 relievers because we don't trust Herter or Holton. We need 2 starting pitchers because we can't count on a spiraling Jack Flaherty or an injury-prone Olsen. I don't know if they had 4 different arms at the deadline. That seems like a tall task. But, I mean, in an ideal world, yeah, I would agree with you. I don't know if I'd call Olsen injury prone, though. Just this one stint this year. It's not like he's
it's lasted longer than maybe we thought it would.
But he could be back on Wednesday.
Yeah, he definitely could.
Flaherty is definitely spiraling. They definitely need as many bullpen arms as they can. But asking for 4, you're kind of asking yourself to be disappointed after the deadline, I would say.
But you're technically adding one in-house with Alex Cobb at some point. That's adding a guy,
I
right?
guess, yeah. I guess. For free.
For free.
Well, he cost $15 million this year. $15
Most
million.
expensive pitcher other than Flaherty, but for free.
Yeah. Because you're not giving up any assets.
Right.
You already gave him.
Now that's if
bag.
he plays, right? And that if is
he's going to play at some point.
One.
It's just a matter of when, how much he plays, and if he's good. Like he's going to play at some point.
Those are a lot of pretty important questions.
Thank you. All right, we'll circle back to the Tigers here with Skubal on the mound a little bit later on in the show. But Kyle, my stance has been pretty clear on what I think the Pistons should do. In terms of jumping the gun, I don't want them to do that. I don't want them to take shortcuts to the top. I want them to kind of see this thing play out. Run it back with Ivy. Let that be your addition this offseason. And I think you're naturally going to see this team possibly get to 50, 55 wins without really having to make a big move. But I don't know, man. Now that I look around the Eastern Conference, no Tatum, no Dame, no Tyrese Halliburton for most of the regular season, it's hard to resist the urge to go trade for a star. And I think the best player that's currently on the trade block is Lauri Markkanen. Former All-Star, Western Conference, plays for the Jazz right now. The unfortunate part is the Pistons don't have a first-round pick this year to give up to get him. So maybe this conversation is somewhat of a fantasy conversation. But I also think the Pistons have enough future picks to make this a possibility. So what I threw out there was 3 future firsts, Tobias Harris. And in order to make salary match, you got to throw in like Simone Fontecchio or Marcus Sasser to get the salaries to add up for it to work. But I look at, what Desmond Bane went for, and basically 5 first-round picks, and maybe 3 first-round picks isn't enough. But that's kind of where I start, because if it's anything more than that, it's going to feel like a little bit too much to give up for someone who's a fringe all-star at best. I guess Desmond Bane was never really an all-star, but where would you stand? Like if you got a Woj bomb this morning and you woke up to Pistons have traded for Lauri Markkanen 3 first-round picks, your initial reaction would be?
Oh, God. That would be my initial reaction. Look, I'm the nerd when it comes to this trade stuff as far as all the details and leverage. And it's not just about players, right? It's about what comes with the players. Lauri Markkanen is on a god-awful contract. Like the extension that he got from Utah,
it's the same deal
at
Cade
the time
has.
Was abysmal, right? He's making $48 million annually over the next 4 seasons for a guy that, like you said, is a fringe all-star. I think Markkanen is good. In that final year of that deal, he's making $53 million.
Well, the salary cap, if it goes up 10% every single year, it's
sure, but he's going to be your highest paid player, like with Cade deal.
Yeah,
and it's just. I don't know. I wouldn't be that upset about it. But one, I don't think you'd have to give up all those picks because of the deal. Utah is kind of looking to get off of Markkanen just because why do they need him? He's not your best guy on a team. Can Lauri Markkanen be the second best guy, though? That's the real question. Because you're likely giving up one of an Ivy or Duran to get the Markkanen, right?
How about the third best guy because Asar Thompson takes that leap?
That's
because
fair.
I think if you're bringing, like, forget the value, forget the picks for just a second, and just talk about the basketball fit here. Having a stretch for like Markkanen, who brings more size than Tobias, equal defensive abilities, a little bit more shot blocking, to be honest, just because of the size.
Much better catch and shoot 3-point guy.
Elite floor stretcher. And someone you can use in the pick and pop game a little bit, not to the extent of like what a Duran would be used for, but to have 3 big rotation of Markkanen, Stu, and Duran, and Markkanen can play with both of those guys as well, and in a pinch can play the 5. I love it from a basketball fit standpoint. He's a smart player.
Agree.
He's a smart player. He's not going to like be jacking up shots. He would fit with the offense. Doesn't get labeled as tough, but I think has a little bit of a tougher edge than most people would give him credit for. Maybe that's just because nobody's watching his games because they're out in Utah. I think from a basketball standpoint, this is a perfect fit. Again, smart player, moves the ball around, could work really well with Cade, selfless. From a basketball standpoint, I love it. And if Ausar is going to take another leap too, that's another guy who would play perfect with him just because he's a floor stretcher and someone who can see backdoor cuts with Ausar Thompson getting to the rim. From a basketball point, I love it. And then you have to get into what is it going to cost. If it's going to cost multiple first-round picks. If it's going to cost 2 first-round picks, I think I would do it, is where I'm at. 3 first-round picks, now I got to sit down in a room with Trajan Langdon and everyone else and really think about it for have a long discussion, like lock the door, 3 first-round picks, are we doing this? Because here's the thing, if they were to make that trade, I'd kind of view them in the same light as Orlando, where it's like, yeah, they just made an offseason move that kind of launches them into a top 4 team in the East, top 3 team in the East conversation. Because the offense takes a enormous leap forward if you bring in a guy like Markkanen and upgrade that Tobias Harris position that we've all talked about, the position that's easily the most upgradable this offseason.
Agree, and that's where I do agree with you with. Like, that's the spot I do want to upgrade, and I agree from a basketball fit, it makes a ton of sense because Markkanen 2 years ago was an all-star, super good player. Last year took a little bit of a dip. I don't really count anything that happened in Utah last year. They were very obviously tanking. Markkanen was injured for most of the season, injured with quotation marks. So I agree with you from the basketball fit, but I will say, like the Magic, you make this trade, okay, this is your team now. This is the window. This is the core. There's not a lot of wiggle room with the cap to improve this team. It's a lot based on internal development. Can Ron Holland really improve? Can Ausar Thompson, like you said? So like the Magic, who is also locked into this core now for the next several seasons, the Pistons would be in the same spot. So can this team actually win a championship? That's the question you'd have to ask.
And that's the kind of the position I've always taken. That's one of the other reasons I don't want to, jump the gun, or at least that's the argument I've been making, is because once you make a big move like this, you're out of moves. Like, you already don't have your pick this year. If you give up 3 firsts, you don't really have another move to make. So you're kind of stuck in with that group. But I kind of like that group is the thing. You are banking on Ivy to keep developing. You're banking on Ausar to keep developing. But I'm all in on Ausar, man. Like, I really do believe that he's going to take that leap at some point. Maybe he's never his brother, but he to me is one of the best, more than a role player, but like a connector. Like the way an Iguodala was for the Warriors back in the 2015-16 season. Like, just someone who is elite when he's playing with other stars, even though he's not necessarily the star of the team, but just plays selflessly, connects everyone in transition, looking to move the ball around, and then always making backdoor cuts and trying to get to the rim. So from a basketball standpoint, I love it. Again, it's, do you want to give up all the capital right away this early on? But you look around the Eastern Conference and all these guys banged up, and it's like someone new is probably coming out of this conference next season, which is the reason I would say if I was making the argument to trade for Markkanen, it'd be like, look around. Go make the move now. And for the next 2 to 3 seasons, you've actually got something tangible that you can point to and be like, I think we actually can make it out of here. Because, I don't know, like, can Markkanen be your second best player to win a championship? Probably not. But in an Eastern Conference that looks like it does right now with a lack of stars and a good amount of injuries, can he be the third best player on a team that makes the finals? That, I think the answer is clearly yes. So you're banking on Ausar Thompson or Jaden Ivey to take a huge leap forward. I'd say it's like 67.8% chance one of those things happen. Right? I'm all in on Ausar Thompson. I'm less all in on Jaden Ivey, although I think even if he starts playing or keeps playing like the way he was before he got hurt, like the Pistons are a completely different team with the addition of that version of Ivey with the version of the Pistons that were playing in the second half of the season. So I think you got to entertain that for a little bit if you're Trajan Langdon, and that's a deal that comes up. Now, does Utah have any interest in making a trade for Markkanen if they're not acquiring picks in this year's draft? Maybe not, but let's say they get through the draft and 48 hours from now they still have Markkanen on their team, then it's actually something that could happen. 989-837-6125. 10 o'clock hour, we've got some Detroit Lions stuff to get to. We're going to take a trip around the league, and I want to have 2 different conversations about the quarterback of the team, whose name is Jared Goff. 11 o'clock hour, we've got some Tigers All-Star voting stuff to get to. We've got a redraft from an ESPN article that came out yesterday that has the Tigers doing something that is going to frustrate you. It just is. So we're going to take a quick timeout. We're going to come back, and we're going to have an awesome last 2 hours to close out the Ben Bosscher Show on this Tuesday. We're not even halfway done, so keep listening. Stay tuned. It is the Ben Bosscher Show on a Tuesday right here on 100.9 The Mitt.
The Ben Bosscher Show, powered by the Forward Corporation on 100.9 The Mitt.
A beautiful yard increases both the value of your home and the quality of your life. Commercially, landscaping creates a positive impression of your professionalism and commitment to community, customers, and employees. Cervinsky Sod has been creating and maintaining outdoor spaces for 56 years. Whether your project is residential or commercial, the team at Cervinsky Sod Services will work with you to build and meet budgets and finish the job with top quality and in a timely manner. To get a quote, call 989-835-4810 or visit CervinskySodService.com.
Wackadoo! Bluey and her little sister Bingo are joining the Great Lakes Loons again this summer for Red, White, and Bluey Weekend presented by My Michigan How. It's 2 games of fun, laughter, and memories with our favorite Blue Healer. Whether it's Saturday night or Sunday afternoon, don't miss out. For tickets, visit loons.com. This is the Great Lakes Loons, everyone's hometown team.
At the Great Lakes Loons, our commitment to community goes beyond the ballpark. Through the Volunteer program, Loon staff and even players roll up their sleeves to serve the Great Lakes Bay region. From packing food boxes to reading in classrooms and even cleaning up local camps and parks, it's hands-on work that helps build a stronger, more connected community. Volunteer isn't just what we do, it's who we are. Because being part of this region means showing up when it counts. The Great Lakes Loons, serving the Great Lakes Bay region since 2007.
Scrolling? Make it count. Want local sports content that actually matters?
Yeah.
100.9 The Mitt is loaded with local highlights, viral plays, breaking sports news, and takes you can't get enough of.
It's hot!
Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube today, and you'll never be out of the loop on the Lions, Tigers, Pistons, Red Wings, Michigan State, and even the biggest stories in high school sports in the Great Lakes Bay region. 100.9 The Mitt, Mid-Michigan's sports leader.
Have you noticed bad behavior has become normalized at interscholastic athletic events? Some fans seem angry. They lack civility toward one another. Some even get aggressive and unruly. Time out! What is going on? This has to stop. Let's not forget, school sports aren't just about winning. And they're definitely not an excuse to take your frustrations out on the official or the opponent. They're about teaching lessons like perseverance, respect, and empathy, so students can learn and grow as people, not just as players. We all have a role to play in setting a good example for our students and teaching them these important values. So fans, it's time to step up your game and behave positively at interscholastic athletic events in Michigan.
This message presented by the MHSAA and the Michigan Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association.
From the Blazy Electric Studios, this is Sports Radio 100.9 The Mitt, WLUN, Pinconning Bay City, Saginaw, Midland.
Ben Bosscher Show, welcome back in, hour number 2. Do you remember week 1 of the show, Kyle, when we were going over like the best names, the best nicknames in sports? I think I might have a new champion. There's a Blue Jays pitcher whose name is Richard Lovelady, who is officially requested to go by his nickname, Dickie. Therefore, there is a Blue Jays pitcher named Dickie Lovelady. That is everything I've ever wanted.
Is that even a
in
nickname, though? Like, that's just his name.
Dickie Lovelady. Yeah, that's just his name.
Top tier name.
That might be the best name in sports, point blank period. Maybe not the coolest, but just the best. That's hilarious. Dickie Lovelady.
Give me Dylan Dingler all day.
Okay. So, I don't know how many people saw this, but Netflix released their new trailer for the upcoming season of Quarterback, which features Kirk Cousins, Jared Goff, Joe Burrow. And in that video, in the trailer, you see Jared Goff have a couple, moments. You see him cutting down a Christmas tree and spending time with his family, amongst things like that. And I just started to think to myself, is this going to be entertaining? Because Jared Goff, to me, is somewhat of a boring person. He doesn't have a boring job. He's quarterback of an NFL team, but at the same time, he doesn't have a ton of personality to him. And I don't think that's a bad thing when you're talking about the franchise quarterback. You don't really want it to be like someone who's drawing a ton of attention the way like a Kyler Murray does with some of his off-the-field stuff. I think it's good to have a guy who's pretty even keel, right? Doesn't get too high, doesn't get too low, says everything, says all the right things in the press conferences, never going to give you clip-worthy stuff to where it's like, well, look what he said. And then everyone starts retweeting it and all that stuff. Jared Goff, just great PR guy, says all the right things. Is he boring? Because I'm thinking I'm going to watch the quarterback show when it comes out on Tuesday, or next Tuesday, I think it is. But I was just wondering, is anyone else actually going to like this? Does anyone else think Jared Goff is interesting? His story may be from what happened with LA and now them kind of casting him away and him coming to Detroit and having a ton of success. But him as a subject in a documentary, to me, seems a little bit boring. He's not the first Lion I would choose to be a part of something like this. And I wouldn't say he's one of the 10 best quarterbacks for this role. Now, Lions fans, I'm sure, want to see a little bit more of him, but I feel like he's somewhat boring for a subject for a documentary like this. Am I crazy? Am I being a bully?
Maybe. My question would be, who is not boring?
Lamar
who is entertaining
Jackson.
in a good way?
Lamar Jackson, Patrick Mahomes. I think Josh Allen.
Is Patrick Mahomes entertaining?
Joe Burrow bought a Batmobile, and that was in the trailer.
You hate Joe Burrow.
I hate Joe Burrow, but I think he's more.
Joe
he's a
Burrow
more
is
entertaining
boring.
personality.
No, I think he's super dull and boring.
I think he's kind of frat bro to where I wouldn't enjoy hanging out with him, but he's more entertaining and has a little bit more personality than Jared Goff does, right?
I guess. I don't know. I really don't think so.
I think Lamar would be great for this. That's someone who I'd actually want to see what they do in their spare time.
I think Josh Allen is pretty good for something like this.
Yeah. Even a Stafford, an old veteran. I don't care what Kirk Cousins is doing. I feel like I've seen one too many things on Kirk Cousins now. Because wasn't he?
I would disagree. Kirk Cousins is perfect for this type of situation.
Wasn't he in the first season of this?
Yeah, he was. When it was Mariota. I guess that's a good point.
So they're doing Kirk Cousins again.
But they're casting him this time as the dude that got benched, as Mariota was in the first season.
I think any rookie would be a little bit more interesting. I'd love to see Jaden Daniels, or Hurts is a little bit boring too. Caleb Williams, I think would have been a fascinating person for this. Even a Trevor Lawrence, I think would be more entertaining. I don't know. There's just
Trevor
something about
Lawrence is entertaining?
Just because of the story and everything happening in Jacksonville right now. Yeah. I don't know. I think the Jared Goff thing, it's just there's a whole bunch of people even on the Lions that I'd rather have a documentary on than Jared Goff. I know he's the quarterback. I know he's, the guy that we've all kind of fallen in love with, but I don't know. He just kind of pretty dull personality, it feels like.
Are you only thinking of this way because of the way he plays? Because immediately the guys you say are entertaining are Joe Burrow and Lamar Jackson. And it's I don't think Joe Burrow is this entertaining guy off the field. Jared Goff plays boring, right? He doesn't make flashy plays. He stands in the pocket, he gets the ball out of his hand fast, and makes the right play. Lamar Jackson is entertaining, I agree, but he's also entertaining on the field.
Well, yeah, he might be the most entertaining guy on the field.
Yeah, he's super entertaining on the field. As far as the off-the-field stuff goes, I don't know. I'm excited for this. I'm totally going to tune in to see how Goff is off the field. He has a supermodel wife. He's just had a kid, his first kid.
I think someone like Baker Mayfield, I think, would have been way better. That's someone with a personality.
Yes.
That's someone who
Baker might be 1A.
Baker might be 1A behind Lamar Jackson's probably. I just want to know what goes on when that guy's not on the field with no agent because he's got a ton of time. Any of the rookies, I think, would have been better. Caleb would have been better for this. And I'm not trying to disrespect Jared Goff here. Yeah, I'm probably going to watch. But I don't know if I'm this feels like something that I watched the first episode to and maybe the second, and then it just kind of fades out.
That's all these sports docs for me, honestly. The starting five thing last year in the NBA, I watched one episode, and then I was like, nah, I'm good. Same with the quarterback stuff. I never finished that.
I just want to be able to learn as much as possible about these guys off the field, and if they're not going to be the full version of themselves, then I don't think there's point in watching it. And I just feel like there's not much else to learn about Jared Goff's off the field stuff, if that makes sense. Like, I feel like I know who he is. When he's in front of the camera, he's never going to say anything spicy. He had the quote of, hey, sorry, Tom, you're retired in the trailer. It's like, that's probably the best it gets. Like, that's probably the best quote you get.
That's why it was in the trailer.
Yeah, that's probably the best quote you get from Goff the entire time of the documentary. So, like, I don't know. It's something I'm, like, looking forward to, but it's not something I'm like, oh, I can't wait until that comes out. I can't wait to see the Jared Goff documentary, you know?
I'm more interested from, like, the on-the-field aspect of it, right? I mean, Jared Goff had been the guy that doesn't turn the ball over, has led the Lions to the playoffs in year 1, or winning 2 playoff games. And then in year 2, which the one that it's covered in, was basically the reason they lost. Like, got totally outplayed in a playoff game at home coming off a bye. Like, I'm excited to see that stuff.
Yeah, but you already know what he's going to say. Like, I let the team down. I got to be better than that.
But everyone would say that, you know? Like, my counter to saying Jared Goff is boring is all these dudes are boring, man. They're all media trained to be the professionals that they are. There's the couple outliers, like a Baker Mayfield, I would agree.
Should have had Russell Wilson.
Right, yes.
Just get the most cringeworthy guys doing this show.
All the quarterbacks on the Giants. You know,
that would honestly be better. The fact that Hard Knocks is not going to New York makes me sick. Because it's Buffalo, right?
Yes.
Which is crazy. I thought Hard Knocks was supposed to be on like on a struggling team, a team that
that's a good point.
That has had very little success in the past few years, and people's backs are against the wall and seats are hot. That's not at all the situation in Buffalo. I mean, it'll be interesting for a different way. It's like, hey, you going to beat Mahomes this year? Like, no, probably not. But I don't know. Like, I think I would have had a lot more fun in watching a Washington or a New York Giants just because it's a dumpster fire for a Hard Knocks type of thing. I also might just be out on Hard Knocks in general. Because after you see your team in it, the rest of it's just not as good. You know, now that I've seen the Lions in it, it's just not as good.
The Giants' Hard Knocks was pretty good last year.
The Jets? No, it's the Bears.
Well, the Giants.
Oh, the off-season Hard Knocks.
Yeah.
Yeah, the off-season Hard Knocks I actually thought was better than the in-season Hard Knocks from the Bears.
I think it has been the last couple years.
I only saw the Giants one. Was there another off-season Hard Knocks?
The Lions one.
No.
A couple years ago.
The off-season Hard Knocks.
Yeah, the Lions was the off-season one.
There's no Lions off-season Hard Knocks. What are you talking about?
A couple years ago.
No, there's not. There was the regular Hard Knocks. That was the Lions. There's no off-season Hard Knocks for the Lions, right?
It was the preseason one. It wasn't during the season, was it?
Yeah. Like the training camp one, like the standard regular
that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, no, but the Giants had one that was like over the course of the off-season.
Right.
Because now they do too many. Now there's the off-season, the training camp, and the in-season one. Who's supposed to keep track of all this? Who's watching every single one of these?
You already got football going on. I'm out on the in-season Hard Knocks just because I already am watching so much football during the season. I don't really need to follow a team with like an hour a week episodes, you know?
Yeah, I'm totally aligned with you there. All right, speaking of teams around the league, let's take a trip around the league when we come back here. It is the Ben Bosscher Show, and before we do around the league, I got to tell you about Premier Tile and Stone. If you have boring floors, if you have sad showers, Premier Tile and Stone is here to rescue your surfaces from the snooze zone. These folks turn tile into art. Kitchen, bathrooms, backsplashes, fireplaces. If it holds still, they'll make it beautiful with their tile. Locally owned in Midland, but their work looks like it belongs in a magazine. Giant selection of fancy stuff, porcelain, ceramic, natural stone, and materials you probably can't even pronounce, but definitely will love. Stop dreaming and start scheming. Visit the showroom and let your interior designer run wild. That's Premier Tile and Stone, where your floors get fabulous and grout gets glorious.
The Ben Bosscher Show, powered by the Forward Corporation on 100.9 The Mitt.
Celebrate 4th of July with the Great Lakes Loons. Join us for our block party on Main, presented by the Michigan Army National Guard. Celebrate America's independence with face painting, balloon animals, the inflatable zone on the front lawn, and of course, America's pastime. The evening wraps up with a spectacular fireworks loontacular, presented by Farm Bureau Insurance. For tickets, visit loons.com. This isn't just baseball. It's the Great Lakes Loons, everyone's hometown team. Wackadoo! Bluey and her little sister Bingo are joining the Great Lakes Loons again this summer for Red, White, and Bluey Weekend presented by My Michigan How. It's 2 games of fun, laughter, and memories with our favorite Blue healer. Whether it's Saturday night or Sunday afternoon, don't miss out. For tickets, visit loons.com. This is the Great Lakes Loons, everyone's hometown team. You want sports takes? You want local voices that own the mic? Yeah. We've got it. On Sports Radio 100.9 The Mitt. It kicks off at 6 a.m. with Anthony Bellino on Spin on Sports.
Rise and shine.
From 9 to noon, don't miss Michigan's newest sports show, The Ben Bosscher Show.
Hey, remember that.
At noon, you get America's smartest sports takes, The Herd with Colin Cowherd.
I want Shador to play.
And at 3, the one and only Bill Simonson and The Huge Show. This is where real fans stay locked in. 100.9 The Mitt. Scrolling? Make it count. Want local sports content that actually matters?
Yeah.
100.9 The Mitt is loaded with local highlights, viral plays, breaking sports news, and takes you can't get enough of.
It's hot!
Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube today, and you'll never be out of the loop on the Lions, Tigers, Pistons, Red Wings, Michigan, Michigan State, and even the biggest stories in high school sports in the Great Lakes Bay region. 100.9 The Mitt, Mid-Michigan's sports leader.
They tell us we're more connected these days. We have cell phones, email, text messaging, yet we've never felt more disconnected from the people we care about the most. We need a place that's all about bringing us together. Say hello to the Great Lakes Bay region, where towns like Saginaw, Midland, Bay City, Birch Run, Chesaning, and Frankenmuth help us leave behind the overscheduled world we live in and visit a place we haven't seen in a while. One where the people make us feel right at home. And we remember just how bright our kids' eyes get, peeking through a riverboat railing, just to catch a glimpse of the wildlife. So let's go fishing, bird watching. Let's blow the suds off a local tap, take a tall ship dinner cruise at sunset, or stop by a festival just because the name made us smile. Right here in the Great Lakes Bay region, where reconnecting with what really matters is pure Michigan. Your trip begins at michigan.org.
Listen up, parents, teachers, counselors, coaches. Your boys just turned 18, but they need one more push. Don't let them forget to register with the Selective Service System. It's required by law, and it can open up the door to many federal benefits. Visit sss.gov.
The Ben Bosscher Show, powered by the Forward Corporation on 100.9 The Mitt.
All right, football still about a month away. Lions going to be starting training camp actually in about 3 weeks. That's not going to stop us from taking a trip around the league on this Tuesday.
It's time to zoom out and go around the league.
All right, Kyle, what do you got in store for us today?
All right, we went around the league in MLB. We're going back to the NFL. It's the offseason time. We did this in the NFC North a little bit, like what team won the offseason. Let's stretch it out to the entire NFL. 5 teams that won the NFL offseason. Do you want to try to guess these, or do you want to do a reaction to these?
Let me guess one at a time, and then we can go over each one.
Okay, they didn't rank them, so it's just 5 teams.
Well, okay, then the Bears just have to be on there. They get Ben Johnson, they fix their offensive line, get 3 new guys, center, 2 guards, and they get their Colston Loveland. They get another weapon in Roma Dunze, or Luther Burden, I should say. They already drafted Roma Dunze. The Ben Johnson thing really puts them over the edge. I think they're definitely on this list. I have no doubt about that. But if they were ranked, they probably would be 1.
Yeah, they're the first team on the list, so maybe that means they do have them ranked number 1. And the very first thing they dive into is getting Ben Johnson. That seems like the move of the offseason from the coaching perspective. And then obviously they made a ton of moves to upgrade that offense in an offensive-minded head coach. So it makes a ton of sense.
I think we've spent enough time on the Bears the last couple of weeks.
I'm still out on them.
You're still out on the Bears?
I'm out on the Bears, man. This is every year.
So, okay.
Just because Ben Johnson's there doesn't mean I'm falling for it again.
Are you out on the idea of them being a playoff team, or are you out on the idea of them being, good at all? Because
I'm out on them being a playoff team.
But you still think... Because it's hard to... Making the argument that they're not going to be significantly improved, I think, is basically impossible at this point. it would have to start with Caleb Williams did not improve at all. And I have a hard time buying into any of that with Ben Johnson still around.
It's just like the division is so good, dude. We're just assuming that the Vikings are going to fall off from winning 14 games last year, and Green Bay, who also made the playoffs. It's very difficult for Chicago to get into that top 3, I'll be honest.
I don't know. I think I'd put Chicago right up there with... Minnesota obviously has a more talented roster, but J.J. McCarthy's coming in with 0 games played. Caleb Williams is a objectively better quarterback right now than J.J. McCarthy. So, and honestly, I think Caleb Williams, by the end of the season, could be a better quarterback than Jordan Love. And at the end of the day, that's what matters, right? Who is the best quarterback and who is the best coach? Ben Johnson still has a lot to prove in terms of putting him ahead of like a Matt LaFleur and Kevin O'Connell, but it starts with quarterback. And I kind of think Caleb Williams is the first or second best quarterback in the division. By the time the season's done, I kind of think he's going to be 1. So it's hard for me to say that the Bears are. I'm not out on the Bears, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
That's fair.
A little bit more bullish on the Bears.
I am. All right, who do you got next?
Teams that won the offseason. How can the Raiders not be on here? You get Genty, maybe the most exciting player outside of Travis Hunter on offense. You upgrade your quarterback from Aiden O'Connell and Gardner Minshew to Geno Smith, which isn't like... It's not all of a sudden you're talking about yourself as a playoff team, but at the same time, it's probably the best upgraded quarterback room in the NFL. So
absolutely,
let me throw the Raiders got to be on here, right?
Yeah, Raiders are the last team mentioned on here. Pete Carroll coming in, I think, is just a huge upgrade as well. The Geno thing is big, and then Genty, who is getting a lot of praise right now. You're bringing back Christian Wilkins, who will be healthy this year. I know that's not like a move, but yeah, I think that the Raiders in a spot like the Bears, where the division is just really hard. But this is going to be a much improved team this season. For sure, I agree with them being on here.
Won the offseason. Are the Jaguars on here simply because of landing Travis Hunter?
They are not.
Okay.
No Jags.
Denver for improving what was already arguably the best defense in the NFL.
No Denver.
Are these playoff teams from last season, or are all of them teams that missed the playoffs?
2 of them are playoff teams. The other one was not even close.
Titans for landing the number 1 overall pick.
I'm gonna give them to you.
No, I don't.
Oh, okay.
San Fran.
Not San Fran. Think about a move that recently happened that would maybe shoot this team into the top 5.
Move that recently happened.
Most recent move of the offseason.
Steelers?
No, even more recent. I'm talking last week.
Last week? What on earth happened last week?
This is big news, man.
I'm drawing a blank. What happened? Was it an extension? Was it a trade?
No, a player signed.
To a new team?
Yes.
I'm telling
you, I'm giving you every hint in the world here. The Ravens.
Oh.
Was getting Jair Alexander.
How can they be like... I guess in my head, I'm thinking of most improved teams that won the offseason. But if we're just talking like pure headlines,
right? It's just best offseasons.
Getting Jair, I can see that. Then that's my fault. I should have been a little bit better about that. Because I was thinking
like they
most
get Starks
improved
in the draft as well.
Yeah, because their defense went from a borderline weakness after they lost Mike McDonald. Because they had the worst fourth quarter defense in the NFL last season in terms of points per game. Their secondary wasn't very good. You could throw all over them. Now they have Kyle Hamilton, Jair Alexander, still have Marlon Humphrey in there. Their secondary is disgusting now. And Malachi Starks fell to them in the draft. And they got Mike Green, who everyone thought was a first-round talent and just fell because of character stuff. And, of course, the Ravens pick him up. It's
which happens to them every season.
We're not overthinking this. Yeah, that's
Bucky
a totally
Brooks,
fine
who wrote
answer.
this, he says he mainly put them on here because he thinks this is the year that they get to the Super Bowl, and they made the additions that will help them get there.
I've heard that like each of the
and
past
I will
4
say,
seasons. So
the end of this is just DeAndre Hopkins is joining a group of dangerous pass catchers that includes Zay Flowers, Rashad Bateman, and Isaiah Likely. Yeah, that's just a crazy use of the word dangerous. All right, 2 more.
Dangerous to the IL.
Dangerous to my eyeballs, yeah.
Dangerous to your fantasy team if you draft any of those guys. Okay, 2 more. Okay, now I got to get out of the mindset of like just improving your team. Who won the offseason? Don't tell
There's
me Dallas
an obvious one with a bad
here.
team.
The team that didn't make the playoffs.
Right. This one is like fits your definition of most improved.
Patriots.
Yes, the New England Patriots. Makes a ton of sense, right?
It's just the new
Mike
coach is the
Vrabel.
biggest thing. Yeah, they don't have incompetency from every coaching staff member anymore.
But they made a couple big signings too. They signed Milton Williams, Carlton Davis, Harold Landry.
Yep. The team's dramatically
Will Campbell
improved.
in the draft. Diggs, obviously.
This was arguably the worst team in the league last year. I know they didn't end up with that first pick, but for the majority of the season, this team was unwatchable. Their offense was pathetic. They couldn't run the ball. Drake May was under pressure a second into every single play. And now they bring in a competent coaching staff who's going to spice things up on offense. Like you said, they brought in a couple new players as well. Some, I don't know about like blue chip guys, but like whatever the tier below that is. You know what I mean?
Right.
In Wilkins and, or Milton, excuse me, and Carlton Davis. Like, neither of which are total
Good
game
players.
changers, but they're very good players, each of them individually. So, yeah, the Patriots make sense to fit on this list. There's one more?
There's one more. This was a playoff team in the NFC last year. This team brought in a couple big names, and I think that's why they're on here.
The Rams?
No. Solid guess. Like, these guys are better names than they are players in 2025. I disagree with them being on this list.
The Cowboys?
No. Playoff team.
Dallas missed yeah, they sucked last year. Washington?
It's Washington.
Yeah.
For the additions
I
of
don't know
Laramie
about that.
Tunsil and Debo Samuel, mainly, them being on here.
And if you're getting anything from Debo at this point, I think it's a huge, like, plus.
Right.
He
And
kind of
Tunsil
seems
is
like a
just a
running
name
back.
at this point. Like, he's fine. He can't stay healthy, really.
Debo's,
I feel like any team that has one of their star players sitting out due to contract situations right now should not be winners of the offseason.
You're talking
Right?
Tunsil? Yeah.
Terry McLaurin.
Oh, Terry McLaurin. Yeah.
You know, like, he's one of your best guys. He's not even playing. Threatening to sit out.
He's also just, there's no way he has the season he did last season. Like, he
Right,
caught
which
40,
is why I just traded him in our Dynasty Football League.
he caught 40% of his downfield passes. That's unheard of. That's not repeatable. So I guess I don't blame him for holding out because he wants that big time money, but I don't blame the Commanders for not wanting him to get it. Also, it's so weird that players just, they sign these contracts, then they're like, I don't like this contract anymore. I'm not coming to camp. Like, you do realize you're the one that signed that contract, right? You're the team that signed that contract. Anyway, who
But
do
it's
you,
like, it's all about the next contract, you know?
who do you think should be on here that isn't in terms of most improved teams? Because I kind of think the Titans just deserve a spot for going from
being bad?
For going from Will Levis to the number 1 overall pick. Yes, I do deserve. I think they deserve a spot.
How is that a winner of the offseason, though?
You got the
didn't do
number
anything.
1 pick. You got the number 1 quarterback in the class. You're
Okay,
hoping
in
that
this
that's
class-
your franchise quarterback. What do you mean? How is that a
Sure,
winner
but,
of the
like,
offseason?
They thought
You got
Will
your
Levis was going to
franchise
be their
quarterback.
franchise quarterback.
Did they? Did they really
you think
think
every
that?
guy that you draft in the top 2 rounds of quarterback is going to be your franchise
Yeah,
quarterback?
but this
or
is
else you wouldn't
different.
have
You
drafted
get 1.01. Like, that to me, like, if you were to ask a Titans fan, hey, did you like your offseason? It starts with, yes, we got rid of Will Levis. He's no longer a quarterback. You won. Nothing else matters. You won the offseason. You don't have to watch Will Levis play football anymore. It's as simple as that to me.
I don't know. I disagree. I think the Jets should be maybe on here.
Addition by subtraction.
Addition by subtraction. Aaron Rodgers out. Justin Fields with something to prove in potentially like the best scenario of his career. I'm not a big Fields guy, but he definitely is set up in the best position yet so far. And you bring in Aaron Glenn, who was desperately needed by a coaching staff that just has been all over the place the last several years in New York. I think the Jets deserve a little bit of love. They didn't do a ton on the field. It's just getting rid of the toxicity that was there.
You could say the same thing about the Jags, replacing their coaching staff. Doug Peterson was kind of just a sitting duck, feels like. Wasn't really providing a whole lot.
Right.
They go get Liam Cohen, who's a spark on offense. Finally hoping to revive Trevor Lawrence a little bit. And, of course, they get Travis Hunter. They got not 1 but 2 players with that 2nd overall pick. So
off the top of your head, where would you put the Lions ranked out of all 32 teams? Like, just based on the offseason that they had. Not how good the team is, anything like that.
Out of all
Are they
32?
like a top half? Yeah, like if you had to take a guess.
Yeah, they're definitely a top half because it's like, who'd you lose? Carlton Davis. Who'd you replace him with?
Upgraded him.
DJ Reed. Yeah, or you could make the argument you upgraded, depending on what season you're looking at of each of those players. Other than that, you didn't really lose anyone that is going to hurt you. You got healthier, which I don't know if that...
Ragnow, does that take a L to the offseason, though?
Maybe I've blocked that out of my memory. But yeah, maybe they're not winners of the offseason, honestly. They're a worse team offensively, I would say, with no Ragnow. I don't really know how that's up for debate.
Brought back Tim Patrick, which was important.
Yeah,
the drafting of Tyleik Williams is definitely the right pick for the situation with the Lee McNeil.
They're probably right in the middle. If it wasn't for Ragnow, they'd definitely be in the top half. But losing out on an all-pro guy who's the center...
And not like getting a vet to replace him, yeah.
He's replacing him
not
with a
saying
rookie.
Ratledge is going to suck, but...
There's going to be two guys in the starting offensive line that are either first or second year players. No matter what. That's a little scary, especially considering that was the best asset of your team last year, your offensive line. You lose out on two all-pro caliber guys in Zeitler and Ragnow. That's the thing that gets swept under the rug, man. Everyone's like, oh, they lost Ragnow. Also lost Zeitler, who was fantastic last season. And his job was easy because he was...
Yeah, they might not even be a top 20 offseason, honestly. Now that you think about it, it's like DJ Reed was a great acquisition, but other than that, the offense really took a hit.
A big one. Big one. Let's continue a Lions conversation when we come back because it's that time of year where everyone has their top 10 quarterback rankings, and I'm looking at two that do not feature the likes of Jared Goff. Do you agree with it? Do you disagree with it? It's coming up next year on the Ben Bosscher Show, 100.9 The Mitt.
The Ben Bosscher Show, powered by the Forward Corporation on 100.9 The Mitt.
I'm Sarah Stockford, host of 100.9 The Mitt Success Suite, a podcast highlighting the most inspiring female leaders across the Great Lakes Bay region. This month, we spoke with Mary Draves, former Dow executive and leader in the Midland community.
I think as we get a little bit older, we start to care less about what other people think. That's really a great point, yeah. And so as I've gotten older, I think I've become way more comfortable in who I am, what I stand for. And, you know, when you get to that point, all of a sudden, you know, you become less apologetic about who you are. You also, you know, you're like, hey, this is me, I'm cool with it. Yeah. And I think in my 20s versus maybe I'm in my 50s now, it's a very different person. And that's just really part of the continuum of growth.
Listen to the full interview with Mary on 100.9 The Mitt's YouTube. Subscribe and hit the notification button to be alerted when new episodes drop. That's Success Suite with Sarah Stockford.
Tired of floors that snore? Walls that whisper, nah. Premier Tile in Midland is here to spice things up one tile at a time. They've got backsplash that'll make your pasta jealous. What? Shower walls that'll actually sing in the morning. And floors so fabulous, you'll consider eating dinner off them. Stylish, affordable, slightly obsessed with grout. Visit Premier Tile, located between Stark and Sturgeon, right off US 10, or at PremierTileStone.com.
We're in your town, your school, your huddle. 100.9 The Mitt is here for sports fans in the Great Lakes Bay region. From the hardwoods of Saginaw to Midland's Friday Night Lights. From the streets of Bay City to Freeland, Frankenmuth, and Hemlock. We roll through Beaverton, Auburn, Pinconning, Essexville, and Shepherd. All the way to Gladwin, Birch Run, Coleman, and Bridgeport. This is your sports station. High school, college, NFL, the Looms. It's all right here. 100.9 The Mitt, Mid-Michigan sports leader. This is more than just a lineup. It's a daily ritual for the die-hard Michigan sports fans. At 6 a.m., Anthony Bellino wakes up the state with Spin on Sports.
I do not believe it.
At 9, the Ben Bosscher Show is appointment listening hosted here in the Great Lakes Bay region.
I would like to buy some Casey Mize stock.
America's Best takes over at noon. The Herd with Colin Cowherd.
Well, what about Patrick Mahomes?
And at 3, Bill Simonson brings it home on The Huge Show. Sports Radio 100.9 The Mitt for the most passionate fans in Michigan. From Midland to Bay City, Saginaw to Sanford, From Frankenmuth, Greenland, and Hemlock to Auburn, Essexville, and Pinconning, 100.9 The Mitt is the heartbeat of the Great Lakes Bay region, and proud of it. We're your home for local sports, local stories, and local pride. Whether you're in Birch Run, Beaverton, Gladwin, Chesapeake, or Coleman, football, basketball, hockey, Spartans, NFL, Loons, all right here. 100.9 The Mitt, Mid-Michigan's sports leader.
Timeout.
All right. Remember, we're a team that plays together. Listen, the winning will take care of itself. We just have to get everyone involved.
In interscholastic sports, we celebrate what makes every one of us unique. And in the pursuit of a common goal, everyone in the huddle, in the bleachers, and in the community comes together. This message presented by the MHSAA and the Michigan Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association.
The Ben Bosscher Show, powered by the Forward Corporation on 100.9 The Mitt.
All right, welcome back in. Ben Bosscher Show. It's that time of year where writers have nothing to write about, so they rank quarterbacks. I'm looking at one right now that does not feature Jared Goff in the top 10. And when we did our would you rather have Jared Goff than this guy, Jared Goff ended up being 10th or 11th on the list, Kyle?
Yeah, I think he was right at 10.
Right at 10. So I probably would have him right on the cusp of things. But you jump in and say stop whenever you think you hear a quarterback that is not as good as Jared Goff. Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, Justin Herbert, Matthew Stafford, Dak Prescott, Geno Smith.
Geno Smith is where I got to leap in.
I would have jumped in at Dak. Like, what are we doing?
Look, man, I'm in a rare group of Dak defenders. I think Dak's pretty good.
I think Dak is overblown because he's a Cowboy.
There's not a lot of us on the Dak defending island, but I'm there. I'm not like the leader, but I'm there.
I have a hard time seeing it with Dak. He throws the ball more than anyone, so the counting stats end up being pretty good. But when it actually comes to like going on a game-winning drive, we've seen him fall apart more often than we've seen him come through.
That's fair.
Like I'm
not against you saying Goff is better than Dak.
Some all-time collapse stuff. Here's another list: Mahomes, Allen, Jackson, Burrow, Herbert, Stafford, Love.
Yeah, Love, no.
Prescott 8.
Wait, so
Trevor
Love is
Lawrence,
top 10
9.
on both of these. Ooh.
Yes, Love was 9 on that first list I read, and this is Nate Tice's. Love is 7 on this list. I'd love to know the argument for 7, man, for Jordan Love. Better than Stroud? What are we talking about? Better than Jared Goff? What are we talking? I'm not like the biggest, like, no, ride or die Jared Goff, chant his name guy. But what has Love done to prove that he's a better quarterback than Jared Goff? He may have some intangibles, but I can't get behind that one. I just can't.
I will say, kind of weird how Stafford is just consensus 6 on here. You had Goff over Stafford when we did this.
The reason I had Goff over Stafford is because I'm afraid of because that wasn't a quarterback rankings as much as it was who would you rather have going into next year. And Stafford's age concerns me a little bit. Stafford's injury history concerns me a little bit heading into next season. I think the Rams are set up to have a successful year, but they do have to kind of be worried about what happens if Stafford goes down, because that seems to be a little bit more likely with him at this point in his career than it does with any other quarterback we've mentioned so far on this list.
Yeah, that's fair. So, Dak and Geno and Love, all consensus better than Goff on both of these lists.
No, Geno's not on this list.
Okay.
Geno Smith being ahead of Goff is like just
That's crazy.
Outright disrespectful.
I love Geno. I think Geno's pretty good.
Trevor Lawrence being on this list, and I'm the biggest Trevor Lawrence fan you'll find, it's just disastrous for him to be ahead of Goff on this list. At some point, the production matters, and Goff has produced each of the last 2 seasons for the Lions. Like, I don't know how that... Does he have more help than anyone? Yes, but if he does it again this year without Ragnow and with a new starting right guard as well, when are people finally going to respect this guy? Like, I don't expect him to win MVP or anything like that, but what's he got to do to show up on these top 10 lists? He just had 15 wins last season, and I get it. I don't see Sam Darnold on here either, so it's not like it's not like wins are the biggest quarterback stat, but this has been he was on the number one offense in football last season. It's not the quarterback wins. It's this team's offense was unstoppable last season, and he was at the helm. So I don't know what else Goff has to do to earn a spot on a top 10 list. And, this is meaningless, right? But it's nice to see your guy on these lists when they come out. And right now, no one's seeing Jared Goff in a top 10 list.
I will say, Wayne, what does he have to do? Win the Super Bowl? Because that's always been the thing with Goff. When he got to the Super Bowl with the Rams, yeah, but you can't win a Super Bowl with Jared Goff as your QB.
I don't see Jalen Hurts on either of these lists. This is a problem.
Hurts is not even on here?
Neither list.
Oh my
Which
gosh.
I think is also kind of crazy, right?
It is kind of crazy.
I
just pulled up your list. You had him at 10. Do you want me to say the guys that you had ahead of him?
Yes.
So you had Caleb Williams, which none of these lists have. Jaden Daniels.
Oh my God, where is Jaden Daniels?
Daniels isn't on these either?
Daniels isn't on either.
These are bad.
These are really
bad.
Really bad.
Finishing it off, though, with the guys that you had above him. Joe Burrow, Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, C.J. Stroud, Pat Mahomes, Justin Herbert, and Jalen Hurts. In no order, obviously. Those are 9 guys. So you had him at 10. No Trevor Lawrence, no Jordan Love, no Dak, no Geno.
How is Stroud 10 on both of these lists?
There's actually no way anyone thinks Geno Smith is better than Jaden Daniels.
Well,
there's literally no way.
Apparently,
other than Charles McDonald, of course.
I was about to say, apparently Charles McDonald does. Geno Smith ahead of Goff. Geno Smith ahead of C.J. Stroud. How? I guess I don't am I wrong to think C.J. Stroud is much better than 10? Because he's 10 on both of these lists. I think if I had to do a quarterback rankings right now, C.J. Stroud is in my top 6 at least. Maybe even higher.
Over Daniels?
No, I said at least. Those guys are neck and neck. It'd be the 3, it'd be the 1.
But I feel like the top 5 are locked up.
Well, I think the top 3 are locked up. I think there's a different argument you can make for who's 4.
Well, Mahomes, Lamar, Allen, and then you have Herbert. I guess
Herbert, Burrow, Daniels, and Stroud are all in that same tier to me.
Really? I think Burrow and Herbert are in their own tier. And then the Daniels, Strouds, Goffs, they're in the next group.
I guess I just don't understand the Stroud hate on both of these lists. This guy was unbelievable for his rookie season. Has a down year because his offensive line is a disaster. And then
every wide receiver gets hurt.
Every wide receiver gets hurt. They still find their way into the playoffs, granted a bad division, but then they win a playoff game. It's we kind of clowned him all season long because he couldn't. Well, it didn't really have anything to do with C.J. Stroud as much as it did the offensive line. But then they get into a playoff game and he's just don't worry, guys. I'm C.J. Stroud. We're going to be fine. And they were. And they beat Herbert. So it's I guess I just don't understand why people are out on C.J. Stroud. That's one of the best guys in the league, if you ask me. But the fact that Goff's not on either of these lists, I think, is kind of appalling.
Is it because people think he's boring?
It could be. It definitely could be. I don't know. The craziest thing is Lawrence on this. No, actually, the craziest thing is Geno. Geno on the Yahoo list as number 8 has got to be the craziest thing on this list.
And it's not even Geno being over Jared Goff. Geno being over Jalen Hurts and Jaden Daniels is actually
CJ
some
Stroud.
of the craziest stuff I've seen.
It's almost like if he was better than those guys, the team that had him probably would have kept him. Right?
That seems pretty. And I'm a Geno fan. I think Geno is good.
One of the last pure pocket quarterbacks left in the league with Jared Goff.
But has some sneaky escaping to him. He's a top half quarterback. Absolutely.
Yeah. But is that an accomplishment in 2025?
Yes, in a league.
You either have a guy or you don't. And I'd say if you have Geno Smith, you don't.
Okay, how many guys are there in the league then?
Stroud, Daniels, Burrow, Herbert, Allen, Lamar, Mahomes.
No Jordan Love.
No.
No Trevor Lawrence.
Trevor Lawrence could be a guy, but he's not yet.
Could be a guy. Got it. Stafford, did you throw Stafford in?
Yeah, Stafford's probably on that.
Caleb Williams?
Could be a guy, but not yet.
Do you say Hurts?
Hurts is a guy. He's established himself. You kind of have to cater your offense to him and build it around him, but it clearly works.
That's a lot of guys, man.
That's 9. Geno Smith is not a guy. I'm sorry. He's a good quarterback, but he's not a guy. He's just a guy. 989-837-6125. We've still got some Tigers All-Star voting to get to, but I want to revisit that Pistons trade that we talked about earlier in the show, coming up next year on the Ben Bosscher Show on 100.9 The Mitt.
The Ben Bosscher Show, powered by the Forward Corporation on 100.9 The Mitt.
It's time to remember that. With Kyle Sandell.
Presented by Matt Larson, Farm Bureau agent, located downtown Midland. Well, we got the NBA draft coming up tomorrow night, and for the first time in quite some years, the Pistons don't have a lottery pick, don't have a top 5 pick, and for the first time in 7 years, they don't have a first-round pick at all. Now, it goes back a little bit to the Isaiah Stewart trade-up in 2020, blah, blah, blah. It was a Troy Weaver move. It doesn't matter to this point. Just know they don't have a first-round pick in this year's draft. But that doesn't mean that the Pistons should stay quiet this offseason and not make some sort of move. The biggest moves of the Pistons offseason these last couple years have come via the draft, right? You draft a guy top 5, that's probably your biggest move because they've not been too aggressive to rush the process, right? You just drafted Jaden Ivey. You just drafted Asar Thompson. Cade Cunningham, obviously first overall. That's your biggest move of the offseason. They haven't had to do anything crazy. Well, they're not going to have that option to do so in the draft. So what is their big offseason move going to be? Because you have to have something, right? You've got the Tobias Harris $26 million expiring contract staring at you in the face. It's the most easily upgradable spot on the team. You need a reliable number 2 guy next to Cade Cunningham. We all hope it can be Jaden Ivey, but why not just go acquire that guy right now with the Tobias Harris salary? We'll see what the Pistons do now that we've officially hit the NBA offseason. Remember that. Presented by Matt Larson, Farm Bureau agent, located downtown Midland.
Discover championship golf with amazing views at Apple Mountain in Freeland. Whether you're chasing birdies or just out for a relaxing round, Apple Mountain offers a stunning 18-hole experience for every skill level. Perfect greens, scenic fairways, and a course that plays as beautifully as it looks. Book your tee time now at applemountain.com. Apple Mountain. Golf elevated. Just minutes from Saginaw, but miles from the ordinary.
Hey, did you guys catch anything yet?
Not a thing.
Ah, bummer, neither have we. I'm actually just about to head into town. I'm gonna go into Higher Standards Automotive. They got this award-winning service department with amazing technicians and this large parts department in case I want to fix it myself. They got the part there.
Whatever.
No, I'm serious, man. It's out there.
Yeah, just like when you tried to convince me Bigfoot was real.
Ray?
Bigfoot's behind me, isn't he?
Yeah, we gotta run. Get out. Stop into Higher Standards Automotive, North Eastman Road in Midland, right past the mall.
The Michigan Baseball Foundation is more than just baseball. It's a driver of economic growth and community. Operating one of the nation's top minor league stadiums, MBF supports job creation and regional development. Through creative partnerships and charitable giving, MBF has helped bring projects like Dow Diamond, the East End Development, Fairfield Inn and Suites, the Plaza, and the Dow Bay Area Family YMCA to life, generating over $23 million annually in economic impact. Every Great Lakes Loons ticket supports these efforts. Learn more at MichiganBaseballFoundation.org.
Celebrate 4th of July with the Great Lakes Loons. Join us for our block party on Main, presented by the Michigan Army National Guard. Celebrate America's independence with face painting, balloon animals, the inflatable zone on the front lawn, and of course, America's pastime. The evening wraps up with a spectacular fireworks Loontacular, presented by Farm Bureau Insurance. For tickets, visit loons.com. This isn't just baseball, it's the Great Lakes Loons, everyone's hometown team.
I'm Ben Bosscher, and here's what I think. I think replay should be taken out of basketball entirely. I think 2 super conferences would fix college football. I think the best football, basketball, and baseball players of all time are currently playing. I think the day the Lions win the Super Bowl is going to be the greatest day of my life. I think Monty Williams sabotaged the Pistons on purpose, and you can't convince me otherwise. I think Jim Harbaugh is one of the best coaches of all time, but most definitely cheated, got caught, and ran away. And I think you should tune into the Ben Bosscher Show, fueled by Forward Energy, weekdays 9 to noon on 100.9 The Mitt if you agree with anything I just said.
From the hometown heroes to the college legends to the pros on Sunday, 100.9 The Mitt is your home for wall-to-wall play-by-play coverage. High school football, basketball, and hockey.
Region champions for the first time in school history.
Michigan State football and basketball.
Touchdown, MSU!
The NFL, Thursday, Sunday, and Monday night primetime games. And don't think we forgot about your hometown team. The Great Lakes Loons.
That ball's over and out of here.
100.9 The Mitt.
When it comes to a gun suicide attempt, all it takes is a moment.
Heather and I had an argument just like any other couple. I was lost. I had snapped. I had a gun and I was going to take my own life. Heather helped me realize that there was still a life to live for the better of myself, my family. My weapon is now safely put away.
A moment of crisis can happen to anyone. Store your guns, locked, unloaded, and away from ammo. Hear more safe stories at endfamilyfire.org. Brought to you by Brady and the Ad Council.
The Ben Bosscher Show, powered by the Forward Corporation on 100.9 The Mitt.
All right, welcome back into the Ben Bosscher Show right here on 100.9 The Mitt. Look, you look around the Eastern Conference right now that the NBA Finals have wrapped up, and there's just a lot of injuries going on. Damian Lillard, out for pretty much all of next year. Tyrese Halliburton, out for pretty much all of next year. Jason Tatum, out for pretty much all of next year. When we're talking about who is, the best players in the Eastern Conference, it's going to go Giannis. It's Donovan Mitchell, Cade Cunningham, Jalen Brunson, Karl Anthony Towns. Other than Giannis, there's not a lot of super duper stars in the Eastern Conference, and I think that should lead for the Pistons. That should make the Pistons want to be a little bit more aggressive than normal here this offseason. I've made the argument, stay the course, continue to improve, and everything's going to work out because you've got your guy in Cade Cunningham and a bunch of role players that you really like Asar Thompson, Jalen Duren, Jaden Ivey. But part of me is like, look around, go improve your team, do what Orlando did, and trade some first-round picks to get a guy like Desmond Bane. And the guy that I look at that could be the perfect basketball fit, unsure of what the cost would be Lauri Markkanen. If the Pistons could land Lauri Markkanen and upgrade the Tobias Harris spot, I think we are talking about the Pistons as one of the best teams in the Eastern Conference, a team that could have 55 wins, 60 wins in the regular season. Maybe that's pushing it a little bit, but you bring in Lauri Markkanen over Tobias Harris, and suddenly you're talking about a team that has high-level spacing around Cade Cunningham. You can still have your lob threat in Jalen Duren. Markkanen wouldn't step on anyone's shoes. Like, it would still be Cade Cunningham's team, but you'd have another guy who can create his own bucket for himself and for other guys on this team. Lauri Markkanen is a guy that you can kind of just give the ball to and say, go get us one, and he's going to have dip into his bag and be able to score in a lot of different ways. Shoot over people because of the height, back people down because of the size, turnaround jumpers, and then all that stuff is going to lead to some wide open backdoor cuts for guys like Asar Thompson, guys like Jaden Ivey, and guys like Cade. That pick and roll seems like something that's different than the Jalen Duren pick and roll, but something that's equally as interesting as the Jalen Duren pick and roll because he can stop in that short roll and put up a shot the way that you've seen Miles Turner do it 1,000 times during the NBA playoffs if you were watching those. So I don't know exactly what it would cost. I threw out 3 firsts, and maybe that's too much for a guy that's on that big of a contract. Maybe that's not enough because we just saw probably a worse player, equal to player in Desmond Bane go for 4.5 firsts, essentially. But I think if the Pistons were to get this offer, they'd have to at least consider it. And we've made the case, like, if you are going to make a move, that's your move. You can't go half in on a move in 2025 in the NBA. And once you make your move, that's kind of it. You're out of picks. You're out of assets. That's the group that you're going forward with. The Pistons might have to just decide right here, right now, this is the weakest the Eastern Conference is going to be. So let's make our move and try to win a title here for the next 4 seasons. And bringing in a Lauri Markkanen would, in fact, make that window a little bit more clear to me. Would they be the favorites out of the East next season? No, but would it be a shocking story for them to come out of the East? Well, after the Pacers just made it out, I don't know if anything's really shocking for who could come out of the Eastern Conference next year. It feels like a conference that's wide open and everyone's asking themselves, why not us? And if the Pistons were to trade for a Lauri Markkanen, I think their case for coming out of the East is just as good as anybody else's in this conference.
Yeah, it's a tough balance because you compare the Markkanen trade to the Desmond Bane trade. Well, in the Bane trade, the Magic gave up no assets player-wise. You know, Cole Anthony is not moving the needle. KCP is honestly a negative asset. Whereas the Pistons, just from a salary standpoint, probably have to give up a solid asset in Tobias Harris. And Ivy's probably in this trade, right?
To make the salaries match, you can do it with Simone Fontecchio, but maybe they demand
I'm just talking,
Ivy.
If you're taking on the $50 million a year marketing contract, you probably don't keep around Ivy because you have to pay him as well, right? Like one of him or Duren probably go in this deal because both of them need extensions. So that's just a lot of money you're piling. Like they would be in a second apron team in the luxury tax with a core that has yet to go on a playoff run. You know, you don't really see that.
Would you still do it if it was 2 firsts and Jaden Ivey for Lauri Markkanen?
And Tobias is in it, obviously, because
of salary, yeah. And then it just becomes Cade, Beasley, Asar, Markkanen, and Jalen Duren as your
I genuinely don't think it would take that much. I think a Tobias, Ivy, like Ivy is a huge get.
And a singular first?
Maybe, yeah. A singular first should be enough. Ivy's a big-time get in a Markkanen trade, I would say.
Unless they end up taking another guard here in the draft.
Sure, but like, do any of their guards now impress you?
No.
I mean, Collier's fine. Keontae George is a dumpster fire. The Jazz are searching for their, like, young centerpiece. Markkanen's a little bit out-aging the rest of their group.
Yeah.
Ivy has a chance to contribute to that pretty hard. I think they would be ecstatic about acquiring Jaden Ivey. Now it's the fact of, do the Pistons just want to give a bunch of picks, or do they want to give up Ivy to get Markkanen?
And you still have to pay Duren is the thing.
Yes, that's why I think one of Ivy or Duren are in this, because you can't afford to pay both of them and take on the Markkanen contract.
If you were to do this, you'd basically have to re-sign Dennis Schroeder to have a backup point guard. Because if you get rid of Ivy...
And Beasley, too, even.
Well, Beasley... Yeah, you have to bring Beasley back, but Beasley's not playing point guard for you. If he is, something bad has happened. And Markkanen can take off some pressure from Cade in terms of initiating the offense, but in terms of, just playing point guard, you don't want Markkanen doing that in a full-time role. So I think if you were to move on from Ivy to make this happen, you'd have to make sure you get Dennis Schroeder back. But honestly, man, like it's getting hard to not do that because Markkanen is an objectively better player than Jaden Ivey right now. And
For sure.
As much as it's like, hey, we need another guard to take the pressure off of Cade, having Markkanen offensively does take a lot of pressure off Cade because he's another guy that you can kind of just give the ball to, and offense will be created, not just for himself, but for others too. And he causes a lot of mismatches. He's a 7-foot forward. You can play at center once in a while too. Just 7-foot forward who can stretch the floor. Like that's going to, if the Pistons were to run into that in the playoffs with the team that they have now, that's going to create some giant issues. And we saw that this season with Karl Anthony Towns. Like the Pistons just didn't really have a matchup for him with Isaiah Stewart out. They had to resort to Tobias Harris guarding him. And if Markkanen were in the Eastern Conference and they ran into a team that had a 7-footer as their as their power forward, Markkanen would essentially be the tallest player on the floor for the Pistons, even though he's not playing center. That would create a ton of mismatches for the Pistons against other teams, like specifically the Pacers. They don't really have the size to deal with that. As much as Pascal Siakam's a great player, not big enough to guard Markkanen for the most part. Maybe Orlando has a ton of awesome defenders, but no one really to deal with the size, at least in the starting lineup, of a Lauri Markkanen. Like that is a total mismatch for a lot of teams in the Eastern Conference.
Yeah, I like the idea a lot, and I especially just because like the trade isn't perfect, but I think Pistons fans have come a little bit too attached to the idea of they can't rush the process. Improving the roster, why does that equal skipping steps and rushing the process? You are getting better. I think that Pistons fans are too worried about skipping steps or whatever that means, and don't want to see a better basketball team.
I'm all down to see a better basketball team. I think they're going to be a better basketball team regardless of if they make a move or not, is the thing, just because of the natural progression of Cade and Asar specifically, and hopefully Jalen Duren and Jaden Ivey as well. But I think it comes down to Asar Thompson taking that next leap for the Pistons to really make a move and make some noise next season in the Eastern Conference. 989-837-6125. The Tigers are knocking on the door of doing something they haven't done in a long time in terms of the All-Star game. That's coming up in the 11 o'clock hour. We've got where the Tigers went wrong / where they went right in the past 10 MLB drafts. We've got a mid-morning catch, and of course our two traditions to close out every single show here on the Ben Bosscher Show. Our lock of the day, and of course guessing the one and only Colin Cowherd's Open. It is all coming up in the 11 o'clock hour, so stick with us right here on 100.9 The Mitt. You are listening to the Ben Bosscher Show. Hour number 3 coming up here. Stay tuned. Don't go anywhere. It'll be worth it. I promise. We'll be right back.
The Ben Bosscher Show, powered by the Forward Corporation on 100.9 The Mitt.
Transform your outdoor space with Maple Hill Nursery. Whether you're a gardening enthusiast or just looking to relax in style, they have everything you need. From premium polywood furniture that never needs painting to top quality plants and trees, Maple Hill Nursery has it all. Plus, they offer free setup and delivery on in-stock barbecue grills. Visit them today just north of Midland Mall or check out their website for pro tips and expert advice. Maple Hill Nursery, making your yard the place to be.
At Tommy's Express, you can get your car clean, shiny and dry in just minutes. Our state-of-the-art eco-friendly wash delivers a spotless finish every time. With the Tommy Club app, enjoy unlimited washes or paper wash. Skip the line with license plate recognition and manage everything right from your phone. Fast, clean, and simple. Visit Tommy's Express today and see the difference. Text Clean Card to 86697 for a free works wash.
Offer valid for new guests only. By participating, you consent to receive promotional information text from Tommy's Express. Message and data rates may apply. Message frequency varies.
Parents, summer is almost here. Do you have a plan? Keep your kids active, engaged, and having a blast at Greater Midland Summer Camps. Every day is a new adventure filled with games, sports, creative activities, and new friendships. Plus, new this year, our full-day camps are now at the Greater Midland Tennis Center. More space, more fun, and more memories to be made. Spots are filling fast, so don't wait. Secure your child's best summer ever today at greatermidland.org/camps.
Get ready, Michigan. Field of Frames Fest presented by Dow is taking over Dow Diamond September 26th through 28th. It's the ultimate celebration of gaming, esports, and community, bringing together fans, families, players, and industry pros for a 3-day festival like no other. Watch elite teams battle in high-stakes competition, the Valorant Collegiate Invitational and Rocket League Semi-Pro Showdown, each with $10,000 prize pool, a $5,000 Super Smash Bros. Open tournament, and a 17U Fortnite Youth Tournament with $1,000 up for grabs. There's live music, entertainment, and activities for all ages, plus educational panels and hands-on workshops for those interested in tech, business, and gaming industries. Tickets start at just $25, and kids 10 and under get in free. Don't miss your chance to be part of a landmark event. Visit fieldofFramesFest.com to grab your tickets today. Field of Frames. Experience the element of gaming.
Wackadoo! Bluey and her little sister Bingo are joining the Great Lakes Loons again this summer for Red, White, and Bluey Weekend presented by My Michigan How. It's 2 games of fun, laughter, and memories with our favorite Blue healer. Whether it's Saturday night or Sunday afternoon, don't miss out. For tickets, visit loons.com. This is the Great Lakes Loons, everyone's hometown team. From the Blazy Electric Studios, this is Sports Radio 100.9 The Mitt, WLUN, Pinconning Bay City, Saginaw, Midland.
Hour number 3, Ben Bosscher Show, well on its way on this Tuesday here in the Great Lakes Bay region. Hello to everyone on YouTube as well. The Tigers on the cusp of doing something pretty awesome here. Right now they have 3 players that are in first place for their position for All-Star voting. If the All-Star voting were to end today, they'd have the 3 position players that would get a starting nod, and that doesn't even include Tarek Skubal or possibly Will Vest as another 2 additions to the Detroit Tigers team. So the most selections that the Tigers have ever had is 6. They did that in 1961, and they did it in 2013. Odds are that is not happening this season. Not impossible, but probably not happening this season. But 4 to 5 All-Stars is totally on the table for this Detroit Tigers team. Right now, the people who are locks, what it feels like, and nothing is confirmed yet, but just in terms of the vote getting, and we can go over it right now, Gleyber Torres, a lock to be in the All-Star game. First place amongst the second basemen by a handsome amount, almost 400,000 votes in first place, having one of the best seasons across Major League Baseball for second baseman. Riley Green in second place for outfield voting, but the gap between him and third place is pretty substantial. So right now, Riley Green would be your starting left fielder, Aaron Judge, another starting outfielder as well. And the person who Riley Green is almost 400,000 votes ahead of is none other than Riley Green. None other than Javier Baez, who hasn't played in center field since Parker Meadows has come back, but that's kind of where the MLB has slotted him into in terms of all-star voting. And the Tigers fans have come through. 901,000 votes for Javi Baez to be in the All-Star game. That is the most shocking part of this entire list, Kyle. The fact that if voting were to end right now, Javier Baez would be in over Mike Trout, Stephen Kwan, Cody Bellinger, Kerry Carpenter, George Springer, Julio Rodriguez. I don't know if this is going to last. I have honestly a hard time thinking it will, because I think after this came out yesterday, and all the fans saw Javi Baez, of all people, is in second place or third place for outfielders, I think there's going to be some fan bases that are like, what are we doing here? Let's get our guy in. Javi Baez is not an outfielder. No chance that this guy is going to be starting in the All-Star game for us. So I'm hesitant to say that this is going to hold, but right now he's that All-Star starter for now.
I don't know, dude. I think other fan bases might see this and add more votes to Javi Baez.
Really?
People love Javi Baez, man, across all teams, not just on the Tigers. Like, other than White Sox fans, everyone loves Javi Baez. I think this is super cool to like a resurgence for him. Everyone is rooting for him, and they want to see him back in the All-Star game, right? This goes back to the popular player Tigers things that we've talked about over the last week or so. Like, Javi Baez has that nationwide popularity that really none of the Tigers players have. People like Riley Green. People recognize Tarek Skubal is great, but people don't love those guys like Javi Baez. And I think this is coming from more than just Tigers fans with these votes.
Clearly. So right now the Tigers have two different guys in the outfield for that starting spot. The other guys that are in contention to potentially be all-stars, I would love to say Spencer Torkelson, but he's probably just not going to make the cut. You got to be top 2 in the positions or top 6 amongst outfielders to make it to the second wave of voting, which begins on Thursday. Torkelson right now sitting in 4th place amongst first basemen. Vlad Guerrero, Paul Goldschmidt, and Jonathan Aranda for the Rays, all getting more votes than Torkelson. And I'm actually okay with it. Shortstop Trey Sweeney's in 5th. Tigers fans really just going crazy on that one. Zach McKinstry is the one that maybe has an outside chance here. He's in 3rd place amongst third basemen, nowhere near Jose Ramirez, who has over 1 million more votes than him. But he's not all that far off from Alex Bregman, who's in 2nd. The thing about Alex Bregman is he's not currently playing. He's on IL. And Bregman's having one of the better seasons he's had. His OPS is 900 points better than anybody on the Tigers, although maybe in the last couple of days, Riley Green has made that not the case. In fact, he probably has made that not the case. But Alex Bregman, like, all-star numbers across the board. But he's been on IL here for a second, and if he's not going to get votes because of that, Zach McKinstry has a chance to jump Alex Bregman in the voting, finish as a top 2 guy, move on to that second wave, and maybe get voted in as a utility guy, essentially, behind Jose Ramirez, who's going to be the starting third baseman in the American League.
Is this at least second most surprising? Zach McKinstry having a chance at being an all-star? Yes. Or is it more so like Torkelson also having a chance?
Well, Torkelson, both of these guys weren't really locks to make the roster at all going into the season. Like Torkelson had to remember Torkelson was taking reps in the outfield because it was like Cole Keith's our first baseman in now. Sorry. And it was just a weird spring training for him, but he mashed so well at the plate that they were like, yeah, we'll make room for you on this roster, I guess. And he hasn't looked back since. So that's shocking. And Zach McKinstry's someone for the last year. It's been like, yeah, Zach McKinstry's a fun piece, but if the Tigers want to be taken seriously, probably someone you have to move on from. And now he's on the cusp of, even if he doesn't make an all-star game, it's like he's still one of the better utility guys in all of baseball right now, not even just the American League. So I'd say both of these are equally as shocking. If I had to pick one, it's probably Torkelson because we wrote him off, right? And maybe that's just because Torkelson was the 1.1 pick and McKinstry didn't get talked about and stuff as much, I should say. But come on, Torkelson wasn't going to make the roster going into spring training, and now he's like top 5 in all-star votes. Not going to make it, but still shocking.
You could lean towards the fact that Gleyber Torres is the best second baseman in the American League. Like, that could be another shocking part, right? When you signed Gleyber Torres, no one thought this was going to happen. And he's just been the most important right-handed bat on the team, probably, over a Spencer Torkelson, who also has been surprising. That just goes to show how awesome this 2025 season has been for the Tigers. The amount of different guys unexpectedly, not just having good starts. We're halfway through the entire season. Like, they are just having good seasons at this point. And it's going to show for it at the All-Star game. They love to reward, I mean, of course, like every sport, the best team get a ton of All-Stars. It's just how it works. It's awesome to see that the Tigers are likely going to be in that same situation.
Do you enjoy that the Tigers don't have one superstar the way that the Yankees do and the Reds do, at least for the offensive players?
I don't know. Riley Green might be arguing with that talk there.
If he keeps playing the way he is in June, then he's definitely arguing with that. But I'd say as of right now, they still don't have a superstar on their team. Riley Green's an all-star, and he's about to be an all-star for the second consecutive year. But I don't think he's a superstar. He's not like he's just a solid all-around player. Does everything at like a exceptional level, A- at everything, A+ at really nothing. You know, whereas Aaron Judge, obviously A+ hitter, A+ power. Cal Raleigh, A+ power. You know what I mean? Like, there's nothing that like. What would you say Riley Green is best at? Because I don't actually know if I have an answer as much as it's just like, no, he's just really good at everything. Doesn't have
he's just
one
a
thing
good
that stands
all-around
out.
bat and makes plays defensively.
Yeah, the Tigers lack a true superstar, and I'm okay with it. Because it's not like you're relying on one guy to bail you out of any situation. Like, everyone kind of comes through in a timely fashion.
Yeah, you're seeing that with New York right now, right? Judge go through his slump, so do the Yankees.
Yep. You live and die by it.
It's not like it's the only good player on the team, but the ceilings are high, and when that guy is not, peaking, things look rough for the team. If Riley Green went on a slump right now, not saying the Tigers would be fine, but they wouldn't go on a huge losing streak probably.
The Tigers,
because you have the Zach McKinstry's, Gleyber Torres's, those guys who are going to step up still.
The Tigers won a playoff series with Riley Green in a slump. Riley Green did not have a good postseason last year, and they still won a series and then pushed another one to 5 games. So, like, they don't need Riley Green to win. When he is playing well, they feel a little invincible, but that's because everyone else
I would argue the Tigers don't need any player to win.
That's kind of where I'm getting at.
Yeah. There isn't a single guy on the team that's like, even Skubal. I know that sounds weird, but it's not like Skubal plays every day, right? They win all these games still. The bullpen has been terrible. The other starters have been meh, and they're not on some big losing streak. They're still the best team in baseball.
Yeah, this is the find-a-way Tigers, right? I know they were deemed the gritty Tigers there last season, but I feel like that nickname has gone away in a little bit. But they always find a way. Whatever the circumstances, whatever the decision is.
New shirts.
They find a way Tigers.
Yeah.
Hey, if I got to learn a new position, I'll do it, unless my name's Gleyber Torres, which I guess maybe I should just be done bringing that up. He just should be this. If
he's earned his spot, yeah.
Yeah, if he's going to be the everyday second baseman and be the starter in the All-Star game.
If you're going to be the best second baseman in the American League, yeah, I'm not going to complain.
Yeah, I guess I shouldn't complain that you don't want to switch positions anymore. That's totally fine. But yeah, it's just I'm actually fine with the Tigers not having one superstar on this team and them just being a team before anything. It's not one guy, right? We talk about the jersey test. How many jerseys do you see amongst the Tigers fans? There's a good amount of 3 different guys' jerseys at this point. and Torkelson.
Yeah, I would say 3
Riley
or 4.
and Scooble.
And Javi.
And Javi, yeah. And Javi.
I think Javi's first.
You know what I realized? I don't have a Tigers jersey right now. I only have a Miggy one. And this weekend I had a realization because I refused to buy a jersey of someone who I don't think is going to be here long term. Right? I'm never going to buy just a guy like one of my friends bought an Akil Baddoo jersey. I'm like, that was stupid. Really stupid.
My roommate also has an Akil Baddoo jersey.
A waste of $120 or however much they are. If I'm going to
Dark
buy
ages
one,
of the Tigers, though.
If I'm going to buy one, I need to know that this person's not going anywhere and they're going to be a good player for a long time.
So why don't you get a Riley Green jersey right now?
I was just about to say, I think Riley Green is officially like past the mark for me, where it's like this guy's a Tiger for the next 10 years, and I think.
So this weekend you're about to cop one.
I think I might be getting a Riley Green jersey.
You don't do it there though, because I was going to get one when I went to the Tigers game last year. Why are they so much more expensive there than on like MLB Shop?
Because when you see it in person and you just.
But how is that even legal?
Because it works. Because when you're at the stadium in person and you're like, oh my God, it's right here. Like, how can I be at the game without wearing this? You just buy it. Like I do the same thing when I go to Pistons games. It's like, this is definitely cheaper online, but like it's right here, and I want to wear it for the game. So you just
end up buying it. The city jerseys last year when I went were like $300, dude.
For those ugly blue jerseys?
You get a jersey for like $120, $150.
I'm not gonna lie, man. If you buy those City Connect jerseys,
where are you going with this?
If you buy the City Connect jerseys, I kind of just assume you're a casual fan.
That guy's a loser.
They're not cool. They're not cool. You know what's cool?
You're not cool,
The old
Ben.
English D. The English D is cool. The blue.
A casual.
Yeah. Oh, it's blue. I got to get with the blue jersey. No, those are not cool.
Dude, this.
They're not. I will not give up on this. I do not like the City Connects. I don't like that they wear them at home. If they wore them on the road, it'd be fine. But the home whites are the coolest one of the coolest uniforms in baseball. The fact that they designed a jersey without the English D on it is a disgrace. That's all I'm saying. 989-837-6125. Maybe I'll buy a Riley Green jersey this weekend. 989-837-6125. That's the number to get a hold of us. Mitt messages. You guys can also leave a chat message in the YouTube chat as well if you're watching that way. Hey, what went wrong and what went right with the Tigers drafts in the last 10 years? ESPN said the Tigers have made a few mistakes in their redraft that they published yesterday. Hey, with all this heat, you got to make sure your lawn is okay. And if you want your dream lawn, Cervinsky Sod can roll that out for you. Literally, locally grown, top quality sod that turns patchy yards into backyard showstoppers. They've been doing it for over 50 years. They're experts at this. Whether you're fixing a rough patch or redoing your whole yard, Cervinsky delivers lush green perfection, fast, friendly, and farm fresh, because your grass should be greener right now. Don't settle for meh. Increase the value of your home. Get your lawn the neighbors will envy with Cervinsky Sod.
The Ben Bosscher Show, powered by the Forward Corporation on 100.9 The Mitt.
This past weekend, the Loons wrapped up an 11-game homestand. The Loons took care of business on Saturday and Sunday, as did host Wade DePaula, homering twice. His homer on Saturday was against a lefty. DePaula, who is a lefty, smashed them all season long. As DePaula swings here in the air to center. It's driving Levison back, continuing to carry, and that ball is up and out to deep left center field in the windstream. And DePaula continues to mash lefties. Already had the Midwest League lead with 4 out of 5th. And overall, his 9th, a go-ahead 2-run shot. And it's 6-5. Great Lakes. Next up is 9 games on the road. It starts Tuesday in Fort Wayne. Coverage at 6:50.
I'm Sarah Stockford, host of 100.9 The Mitt Success Suite, a podcast highlighting the most inspiring female leaders across the Great Lakes Bay region. This month, we spoke with Mary Draves, former Dow executive and leader in the Midland community.
I think as we get a little bit older, we start to care less about what other people think. That's really a great point, yeah. And so as I've gotten older, I think I've become way more comfortable in who I am and what I stand for. And, when you get to that point, all of a sudden, you become less apologetic about who you are. You also, you're like, hey, this is me, I'm cool with it.
Yeah.
And I think in my 20s versus maybe I'm in my 50s now, it's a very different person. And that's just really part of the continuum of growth.
Listen to the full interview with Mary on 100.9 The Mitt's YouTube. Subscribe and hit the notification button to be alerted when new episodes drop. That's Success Suite with Sarah Stockford.
Let's pick out a good wine. Let's discover a new taste from a new place. Let's meet the people who handpick the grapes in places dedicated to the craft, in a land that only knows one way to grow things, rich and full. Welcome to Michigan, where the 4 seasons and 4 Great Lakes smile on the winemaker, where the quality of the wine is exceeded only by the warmth of the greeting waiting for us. And with more than 90 wineries, covering more than 13,000 acres, the harvest has never been better. So let's wander through lush vineyards, discover hidden treasures in vast cellars, and renew ourselves in comfortable tasting rooms. Let's all raise a glass. Let's gather our closest friends and become even closer. Because taking time to toast the beauty and bounty of life is pure Michigan. Your trip begins at michigan.org.
The Ben Bosscher Show, powered by the Forward Corporation on 100.9 The Mitt.
All right, welcome back in to the Ben Bosscher Show. Hour number 3, well on its way here on 100.9 The Mitt. You guys can watch on YouTube as well. If you are, please hit that thumbs up button. Please hit that subscribe button. We'd appreciate it a lot here at the Ben Bosscher Show. So with that being said, ESPN came out with an article yesterday that essentially was, well, apparently the one that I linked is the completely wrong article into this.
Don't worry.
Thank God. Because
you linked the mock draft,
which I don't know why.
Draft.
I don't know how that ended up being the thing because we're not talking about this year's mock draft. I don't remember ever even reading this. How did this even happen? Apparently, I don't know how to insert a hyperlink. So what I tried to pull up was ESPN did a redraft of the last 10 drafts, correct? So
yes, the top 10 of each last 10 drafts.
So I want to know how many mistakes that the Tigers made and how many correct decisions that the Tigers made here in these last 10 drafts. And it'd be helpful if I had the article pulled up. But I do not because I linked the wrong thing. And I'll get that pulled up here in just a second. So let's start with the
yes,
20...
I can start if you'd like.
Please.
So it starts in 2015. Tigers didn't have a top 10 pick. And there also isn't any guys that the Tigers picked that snuck their way into the redraft. I do want to mention, though, really quickly, the Houston Astros drafting Alex Bregman and Kyle Tucker in the top 5 of this draft, just absurd. Absurd work from the Astros there.
It's no wonder they won
but
a World
2016 is where the Tigers really get started. 9th pick in the draft this season. They selected Matt Manning with the 9th overall pick. In the redraft, they have him taking Sean Murphy, one of the better catchers in the National League, was part of that Braves World Series team. But yeah, Matt Manning, man, major miss here, right? Not even on the MLB roster. He's actually starting to get bullpen work now. They're looking to work him as a bullpen arm.
Gross.
Which he's been better in the bullpen, but not even a starter currently at the moment.
And that is someone they decided to build their team around, essentially.
Well, that's a bit of a overstatement, but
I mean, they took him as a top 10 guy under a new GM. Like, that's not nothing. Yeah, it's a swing and a miss, a huge swing and a miss here.
Major swing and a miss. I saw somebody the other day commented on one of our posts about where's Matt Manning.
I try not to ever read the comments. Usually they're too mean.
So that's where Matt Manning is. Okay, moving on to 2017. Nothing here for the Tigers. They didn't have a top 10 pick. There also isn't any guys that got picked in the redraft, so it's not like they had any sleepers. Let's move to 2018, though. Major Tigers stuff here. The Tigers had the first overall pick in this draft. And in the redraft, it's a different Tiger that goes first overall. Casey Mize was the original selection. In the redraft, it's Tarek Skubal, who they took way later, the 255th overall pick.
Kind of insane that they were able to walk away with, like, they don't end up taking Tarek Skubal not taken first overall, not even in the first round, but they end up taking a pitcher and they get their star-studded pitcher later on, like the guy who theoretically should have went 1.01. They end up finding much later on in the draft, and still that 1.01 pick's not a waste. Like,
no,
Casey
Mize
is a plus pitcher in this league. Yeah. So
Yes.
the fact that they're able to walk away with both of those guys from the draft, it just has to be.
But imagine if Mize was a stud, though.
I know. At this point, this has to be the best draft that the Tigers have had in a long time because of the way that they were able to find Tarek Skubal at pick 255 and still bring in a plus pitcher in Casey Mize, who's dealt with a lot of injuries, obviously, in his career. But when he has been healthy this season, he's been solid. I think that's the best way to put it. Solid.
Yeah.
Up and down, but solid.
Not the biggest story, though, this 2018 draft. The major big story here is pick 9, Oakland Athletics. Yes, Oakland Athletics. Select Kyler Murray. Man, just so funny, man. I always forget about that. 9th overall pick. Dude never even gave it a shot in your organization.
If you're the A's, do you regret that decision? Or
Of
was
course
his
you regret
upside
that
high enough
decision.
to where it's like you thought you could convince him?
I remember when this happened, though, it was like crazy they drafted Kyler Murray. Like, he wasn't even supposed to go this high. And then he also had the risk of going to the NFL, which obviously Murray was different because he broke out the year after they drafted him. But he already had said he was going to play college football the year after this draft. So they took him knowing that. He hadn't been a full-time starter yet. Obviously, Baker Mayfield was. Now he goes and wins the Heisman Trophy. Maybe we didn't expect that, but they obviously regret it.
I would love to see that's such a big what if. What if Kyler Murray decides to not go play football and decides to go play baseball? Would we be talking about him as one of the best pitchers in baseball right now?
Right.
Who is playing quarterback for the Arizona Cardinals? Huge sliding doors moment for the sports world on that one.
I would say there's no way it works out in Major League Baseball like it has for him in the NFL. But who knows?
Why?
Because he's like a good quarterback still, and he's paid. The process of going, though, to the MLB is such much more difficult than being picked first overall in the NFL. You already get a shot. He could have never even got to the show, you know?
He got his money, so I guess like there's not a debate there, but we just spent a half hour talking about quarterbacks, and he didn't come up once as like one of the top 10 guys. You know what I mean? It's like, I don't know, if he would have hit his potential in baseball, I think maybe the ceiling would have been a little bit higher. Maybe. Just cause, like, if you have one of the 32 starting jobs, you're going to make a boatload of money. And obviously he's good enough to be one of those guys. But like, if you were to hit here's my point. I think he's hit his ceiling in the NFL. Would you agree? We've kind of seen the best of Kyler Murray. You know exactly what he is. If he would have stayed in baseball, who knows what he could have become?
I guess, but I don't know. It's just like he's still a good player.
Yeah, that's
like
Kyler I think Murray that's what it is. He's a good player.
Yeah. He also only played 1 year in the outfield at Oklahoma in baseball. So it's not like he had this prestigious college career of being super good.
No.
Just the riskiest pick of all time.
Correct.
Okay, moving on to 2019, a draft that was really highly regarded. Obviously had Adley Rutschman, Bobby Witt at the top 2 picks, 2 of the better prospects in a long time. The Tigers did have the 5th overall pick in this draft, but the guy that they actually took goes higher in this redraft. Riley Green picked 5th overall, ends up going 4th in the redraft. They get Adley Rutschman here, the 1st overall pick in the redraft.
Is this an Alavila appreciation segment? Because it might have to be.
Back-to-back drafts of Avila smashing it.
Riley Green picked 5th, ends up going 4th in the redraft. Behind, I don't even know if I can get behind the guys he was taken ahead of. It's Bobby Witt, who I think
this draft is loaded, though.
Yeah, Bobby Witt totally deserved it of 1.
Sure.
Gunnar Henderson goes 2 to Kansas City in the redraft. Corbin Corral goes 3rd to the White Sox. I don't know, man. I think you can make the argument
Corbin
for Riley.
Carroll's numbers are pretty nuts.
Corbin Carroll's numbers are good, but so are like Riley Green's having the best month of his career right now. I don't think that counts for nothing. I don't know. I think you can make the argument for Riley Green going a couple picks higher here, but regardless, it's a Al Avila. You did your job pretty well here. Section of this article.
I guess so. Yeah, man. This draft is loaded. C.J. Abrams in it. Ooh, Volpe goes top 10. No, I'm out on that. But it's back-to-back drafts where the Tigers hit it out of the park. Let's move to 2020, where once again Detroit had the 1st overall pick. We all know Spencer Torkelson was the one selected here. They have Pete Crow Armstrong as the first overall pick
Makes
in this
sense.
draft. Been going off this year over Garrett Crochet, which is it's kind of an argument there.
I mean,
guess though, is Torkelson still in the top 10 of the redraft? Do you think?
Well, hold on. Pete Crow Armstrong is like an MVP candidate right now.
For sure.
So I don't think I have no issue.
But
with him
Crochet
being,
had the argument last season of being one of the better pitchers in baseball too.
Fair.
It's a debate.
Is Torkelson still a top 10 pick? Is that what you're asking?
Yeah.
If he is, he's right at the end. I guess I don't know
you're
this
right.
entire draft off the top of my head.
Yeah, he's number 10. I probably would have guessed he didn't make it, but this draft isn't that great either.
No, I'm looking at
some
it
of these
now.
guys haven't
Evan
worked out.
Carter, Jared Jones.
A lot of these guys are still young guys that are still trying to find their stride, which makes sense. It's only 5 years ago, so
Right. Like Pete Crow Armstrong just now coming onto the scene. Who knows?
Right,
Maybe
exactly.
Spencer Torkelson could have the best career of any of these guys. You never know.
Pete Crow Armstrong famously traded for Tigers legend Javi Baez.
Correct.
All right, 2021, the Tigers have the third overall pick in this draft. This is a little bit of an interesting one because at the time, it was like a hot take that they took Jackson Jobe over Marcelo Meyer. Well, in this redraft, that exact situation happens. They have Marcelo Meyer going third, not Jackson Jobe. Jobe actually is not in the top 10 of this redraft at all, probably just because we haven't really seen him that much. The injury doesn't help things. But either way, I don't know. Does this count as a miss?
Not yet. No. I don't. There's no way you could
Just
consider
according
this a
to
miss this year.
According to this article, though.
I mean, technically it does, but I mean, it'd be nice to have a third baseman. I will say that. And Marcelo Mayer is still one of the top prospects in baseball. So I don't know. I wouldn't hold
Who they
this
just
one.
brought up, by the way, the Red Sox.
Right, who's struggled at the beginning, but I guess that's somewhat expected. I wouldn't hold this one against the Tigers at all. We got to see this play out. We got to see this play out.
I just remember when it happened, it was a big deal that Meyer did not go third.
Well, it was an even bigger deal in a draft we're about to talk about. Not the next one, but the one after that.
Yeah, I was just going to say 22.
The Tigers didn't have a top 10 pick in 2022, right?
Yeah, 2022, not a lot of action there for the Tigers.
Yeah, 2023 is where it gets real controversial. Still to this day, people argue about this.
Yes, let's talk about it. 2023, one of the better MLB drafts probably in history, just from at the hype for it at the time. Paul Skeens going first, Dylan Cruz second, and what was supposed to be Wyatt Langford third. These top three guys that were super good in college, played against each other in the College World Series. But the Tigers said, we're good on Wyatt Langford, took Max Clark third overall. And in this article, they flip it. They did exactly what they thought it was going to be. Wyatt Langford goes third. Max Clark goes fourth.
I still won't hold this one. Look, Langford has the 13 home runs this season. He's 237. He's actually contributing, like a positive OPS. He's actually contributing to a Texas team. The Tigers are doing just fine without him. And even if he were on the team, it's where would he be playing right now? You have Riley, you have Parker, and then the whoever ends up playing right field on any given day is usually doing pretty good, whether it's Wenzel or whether it's Kerry Carpenter, who's obviously in a little bit of a slump. But I don't know. I think the upside of Clark is still pretty special. I didn't like this at the time. I wanted someone who could contribute right away, but now I've been sold on the idea of Max Clark being the future of this franchise and taking someone out of high school who you can kind of groom to be that next star. I think it's led to a special relationship between the fans, the organization, and the player of Max Clark. They've embraced him. They've embraced him as the guy. We know we took him ahead of Wyatt Langford. We know how big of a risk it was. But with that being said, we're going to treat this guy and make sure he is the superstar that we thought he was. And I think it's worked out for both parties.
I totally agree. Also worth noting, Kevin McGonigal here picked 9th in the redraft. Was an early second-round pick, so good for him. And then the last thing, Tigers didn't have a top 10 pick in last year's draft, 2024. But worth noting, Bryce Rayner, who was picked 11th, is in this redraft at 8. So shout out to Bryce Rayner.
Pretty good year down in Lakeland, apparently. 989-837-6125. We'll hit the news when we come back. It's the Ben Bosscher Show on 100.9 The Mitt.
The Ben Bosscher Show, powered by the Forward Corporation on 100.9 The Mitt.
It is the Scholar Athlete of the Month, proudly presented by Fisher Companies here on Sports Radio 100.9 The Mitt. This month's recipient is Logan Snyder from Bullet Creek High School. With a 3.94 GPA, Logan's a member of the varsity golf team. revitalizing a program that was dormant when he was a freshman 4 years ago. Logan great at golf and in the classroom, and also volunteers, including at the Midland Miracle Fields.
I love working with those kids, and it's always so much fun to see them getting to play the game we all get to love to play. Just getting to see them going up to bat, hitting the ball, no matter how far it goes, and they're just super excited. It just warms my heart every time.
Logan will be attending Ferris State in the fall and plans to study in their PGA Golf Management program. To hear the full interview and nominate a local athlete for our scholarship program, visit 1009themid.com.
Something happens when we can't be our true selves. You can hear it in our laughs. There's the half-hearted chuckle.
Oh.
The courtesy conference caller.
Yeah, great.
And of course, the I'm only laughing because I'm dating your daughter.
Oh, that's so true.
If you want to laugh for real, try having some Miller Lite with some friends. It works. It's Miller time. Celebrate responsibly. 2021 Miller Brewing Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin beer.
Celebrate 4th of July with the Great Lakes Loons. Join us for our block party on Main, presented by the Michigan Army National Guard. Celebrate America's independence with face painting, balloon animals, the inflatable zone on the front lawn, and of course, America's pastime. The evening wraps up with a spectacular fireworks Loontacular, presented by Farm Bureau Insurance. For tickets, visit loons.com. This isn't just baseball, it's the Great Lakes Loons, everyone's hometown team. Wackadoo! Bluey and her little sister Bingo are joining the Great Lakes Loons again this summer for Red, White, and Bluey Weekend, presented by My Michigan Hound. It's 2 games of fun, laughter, and memories with our favorite Blue Healer. Whether it's Saturday night or Sunday afternoon, don't miss out. For tickets, visit loons.com. This is the Great Lakes Loons, everyone's hometown team. You want sports takes? You want local voices that own the mic? Yeah. We've got them on Sports Radio 100.9 The Mitt. It kicks off at 6 a.m. with Anthony Bellino on Spin on Sports.
Rise and shine.
From 9 to noon, don't miss Michigan's newest sports show, The Ben Bosscher Show.
Hey, remember that.
At noon, you get America's smartest sports takes, The Herd with Colin Cowherd.
I want Shador to play.
And at 3, the one and only Bill Simonson and The Huge Show. This is where real fans stay locked in. 100.9 The Mitt.
I'm Ben Bosscher, and here's what I think. I think replay should be taken out of basketball entirely. I think 2 super conferences would fix college football. I think the best football, basketball, and baseball players of all time are currently playing. I think the day the Lions win the Super Bowl is going to be the greatest day of my life. I think Monty Williams sabotaged the Pistons on purpose, and you can't convince me otherwise. I think Jim Harbaugh is one of the best coaches of all time, but most definitely cheated, got caught, and ran away. And I think you should tune into the Ben Bosscher Show, fueled by Forward Energy, weekdays 9 to noon on 100.9 The Mitt if you agree with anything I just said.
Timeout.
All right. Remember, we're a team that plays together. Listen, the winning will take care of itself. We just have to get everyone involved.
In interscholastic sports, we celebrate what makes every one of us unique. And in the pursuit of a common goal, everyone in the huddle, in the bleachers, and in the community comes together. This message presented by the MHSAA and the Michigan Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association.
The Ben Bosscher Show, powered by the Forward Corporation on 100.9 The Mitt.
Probably should turn my mic on. All right, let's do the news.
The Mitt's Morning Catch.
All right, Kyle.
All right, Ben, let's
what's
hop
poppin'?
back into the news. What's poppin'? Well, what poppin' is that there was a big trade in the NBA last night. The Blazers have traded.
There's someone out there like, what are they saying? What's poppin'?
Brand new whip, I just hopped in. All right, sorry. Drew Holiday has been traded for Anthony Simons plus 2 second-round picks. Who wins this trade, Ben?
The Celtics. They shed cap. They get second-round picks to do it. They won their championship with Drew Holiday when they traded for him a couple of years back, and now they still get to profit off of him a little bit rather than just riding this contract out and letting him take up a ton of cap space. They actually get some value back for him. The Celtics just continue to make great moves over and over again. It's like, what's the smartest thing a team could do? Oh, I don't know. Whatever the Celtics did, probably. They win a championship with Drew Holiday. They know they need to shed some cap. They're probably not going to be as good next year because their best player's not there. Drew Holiday's the obvious trade him to get under some cap numbers. And they end up doing it and getting a decent return in a guy who's, at this point in his career, just on a bad contract. Still a good player, but on a bad contract. And they got some seconds for him.
Right. And Simon's probably is just a one and done in Boston, I would assume. But still, it's maybe a guy that you could get some value for at the deadline if you want to sell him. But he's also not a bad player. So it's definitely a fine acquisition. Takes out Drew Holiday as a potential Pistons trade target. I know that was something that was a little bit tossed around as maybe a guy the Pistons would want to go get. So obviously, that won't be happening.
I never believed that.
Really? Never believed that? Okay.
No. That's not like a difference maker. It's a huge contract for someone who's not really that big of a difference maker for the Pistons, How many more wins do they have if you added Drew Holiday? I don't know, 2?
I mean, he just guards Brunson the whole playoff series, though.
Yeah, but you leave that series feeling pretty good about Asar doing it, right?
No, you're right. But Asar also got in major foul trouble the whole series.
I think that's anyone who guards Brunson, though. I thought Asar did a fine job.
You're right.
But to your point, it's another guy that you can balance it a little bit better. So, yeah, I get your point.
Well, let's move on to some more NBA news that isn't Pistons related, but potentially could relate to them. Mavs have extended their center Daniel Gafford to a 3-year, $60 million extension. And I immediately saw a group of Pistons fans on Twitter saying, is this kind of the deal that Jalen Duren could potentially get signed to? A 3-year, $20 million. I think that'd be a good deal for the Pistons, right? I don't know if Jalen Duren is necessarily open to signing something like that, but it's something to throw out there.
Yeah, it's something to throw out there. I don't know. I don't think Duren's getting the extension this offseason, if I'm being honest. I think they ride this into next year.
We'll see. You don't see a lot of teams do that. They like to get it out of the way, but we'll see what happens. We have some baseball news all over the place. We talked about the Tatis stuff earlier. We can hop back into that. We do have an update on former Tampa Bay Ray Wander Franco. Dominican prosecutors requested on Monday that suspended Ray Wander Franco will be sentenced to 5 years in prison for all the stuff he's been a part of the last several years.
What has he been a part of, Kyle? You wanted to throw this in the news. You got to give the details.
Some bad guy stuff.
That's correct.
What I'll say,
bad
though,
guy.
Is Wander Franco's contract the worst contract in sports history?
I'd have to do a real deep dive in that, but it's hard to say. How much money was he guaranteed?
I'm searching right now because I believe he signed a 13-year deal. Okay, no, 11-year, $182 million.
Total? No, that's not the worst contract in sports.
Now, I assume they probably get out of it, right?
There's got to be
some clause that gets you out of this stuff.
Yeah, there's got to be something with the MLBPA that protects the team in this scenario. The same way that
I would sure
the Lions got a little bit of money back when what was that corner's name that went off Cam Sutton? Remember that domestic violence thing? They got some money back for that.
Missing.
Yeah, then he went missing. Right.
What a weird. And then he just played in the NFL the year following,
back in Pittsburgh. Bad guys over there.
There's bad guys over there. You're right, especially Aaron Rodgers.
That's correct. Hey, we're really in sync now with how much this show hates Aaron Rodgers. I'm open about it.
Everyone listening also hates Aaron Rodgers.
Me too.
Number one show against Aaron Rodgers. Let's talk about a different A. The Athletics. They've officially broke ground on their location for the Vegas Stadium. They've started the process of getting that up and going. And their team president says he has no doubt that this is done in 2028.
You know what I didn't mention the first time we did the news in the 9 o'clock hour is we haven't had a new baseball stadium in quite some time. And it feels like we're getting new football stadiums all the time. We get new basketball arenas and hockey arenas once in a while. But all these state-of-the-art stadiums that the NFL is building, I think it's going to be cool to see a new Major League Baseball stadium in the mix of things, too. Because a lot of them, it feels like are outdated. Comerica Park's not old, but it's not new. And I feel like a lot of ballparks are either on the historical side of things, like Fenway, or they're in that camp that Comerica's in, where it's all the stadiums got their renovation about 2 decades ago. And now there's not really a ton of new, like, state-of-the-art
That's really all you
stadiums.
see with the baseball stadiums, though. It's just renovations get made.
Yeah.
Instead of, up and building a new one. Whereas football, you see a lot of the times guys just sell the team when they need a new stadium.
Yeah. You see a lot, like,
frequent it's happening.
How many new teams are in the process of building a new stadium right now? You got the Bills, you got the Titans, you got the Bears. Washington. There's 4 right off the top of my head. In baseball, you just don't see it very often. So I'm excited to see what, like, this could be the coolest. It should be the coolest stadium.
It's also in a terrible spot.
Is it?
I don't know if you've seen where it's at. It's awful.
Is it? It's not on the Strip, right?
No, but I believe it's like right. It doesn't seem like it's going to be a good location.
Okay, interesting.
So the A's just continue to take L's.
Always.
But they're coming to Comerica Park tonight. This is how we'll close out the news. Tarek Skubal going at it with Luis Severino of the A's. 6:40 first pitch tonight. Happy Tarek Skubal Bump Day to all those who celebrate.
Happy Tarek Skubal Bump Day to you as well, Kyle. All right, that's going to do it for the news today. When we come back, we will do our 2 traditions to close every single show. We're kind of on fire with one of them, ice cold on the other. Let's go through them next here on the Ben Bosscher Show, 100.9 The Mitt.
The Ben Bosscher Show, powered by the Forward Corporation on 100.9 The Mitt.
It's time to remember that. With Kyle Sandell.
Presented by Matt Larson, Farm Bureau agent, located downtown Midland. Well, we got the NBA draft coming up tomorrow night, and for the first time in quite some years, the Pistons don't have a lottery pick, don't have a top 5 pick, and for the first time in 7 years, they don't have a first-round pick at all. Now, it goes back a little bit to the Isaiah Stewart trade-up in 2020, blah, blah, blah. It was a Troy Weaver move. It doesn't matter to this point. Just know they don't have a first-round pick in this year's draft. But that doesn't mean that the Pistons should stay quiet this offseason and not make some sort of move. The biggest moves of the Pistons offseason these last couple years have come via the draft, right? You draft a guy top 5, that's probably your biggest move because they've not been too aggressive to rush the process, right? You just drafted Jaden Ivey. You just drafted Asar Thompson. Cade Cunningham, obviously first overall. That's your biggest move of the offseason. They haven't had to do anything crazy. Well, they're not going to have that option to do so in the draft. So what is their big offseason move going to be? Because you have to have something, right? You've got the Tobias Harris $26 million expiring contract staring at you in the face. It's the most easily upgradable spot on the team. You need a reliable number 2 guy next to Cade Cunningham. We all hope it can be Jaden Ivey, but why not just go acquire that guy right now with the Tobias Harris salary? We'll see what the Pistons do now that we've officially hit the NBA offseason. Remember that. Presented by Matt Larson, Farm Bureau agent, located downtown Midland.
For 100 years, Forward Energy has been more than just a home heat and fuel provider. We've been a part of your community, and you've been a part of our family through every storm, every season, and every moment. We've been right here, keeping you warm and safe. As your hometown energy provider, we deliver more than just propane. We deliver peace of mind with reliable service, quality you can count on, and a commitment to always being there when you need us most. Forward Energy, 100 years strong, fueled by family, powered by community.
Suit up, Sea Captain. At Dive and Glide in Midland, we've got all the gear you need to make a splash. Flippers that fit like a glove, masks that show you the underwater magic, and tanks ready to fuel your next adventure. Whether you're snorkeling the local lakes or dreaming of ocean depths, Dive and Glide has your back and your fins. Find us on Cambridge Street or swim over to diveandglideinc.com. Dive and Glide, making waves one splash at a time so you can dive deeper than ever before.
Ace is the place with the helpful hardware, folks.
Ace Hardware and Sports in downtown Midland has some extra savings for rewards members this month. Let's clean up that yard. Save $3 instantly on select Roundup and Ortho weed killers. Save $10 on 64-ounce spruce, weed, and grass killer. You know what season it is? Grilling season. Free assembly and delivery on grills, $399 and up from brands like Weber and Traeger. Need that deck touched up? Do it and save $10 instantly on a gallon of Cabot exterior stain.
Since 2007, the Michigan Baseball Foundation has invested over $1.8 million into our communities, supporting over 350 projects across 14 Michigan counties. From restoring Alma Little League fields to creating nature-based classrooms at the Chippewa Nature Center and enhancing accessibility at the middle of the Mitt Miracle Field, MBF is making a real difference. Every ticket to a Great Lakes Loons game helps fund these initiatives. Join us in building a stronger, more vibrant community. Learn more at MichiganBaseballFoundation.org.
Wackadoo! Bluey and her little sister Bingo are joining the Great Lakes Loons again this summer for Red, White, and Bluey Weekend presented by My Michigan How. It's 2 games of fun, laughter, and memories with our favorite Blue healer. Whether it's Saturday night or Sunday afternoon, don't miss out. For tickets, visit loons.com. This is the Great Lakes Loons, everyone's hometown team. Scrolling? Make it count. Want local sports content that actually matters? Yeah. 100.9 The Mitt is loaded with local highlights, viral plays, breaking sports news, and takes you can't get enough of.
It's hot!
Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube today, and you'll never be out of the loop on the Lions, Tigers, Pistons, Red Wings, Michigan, Michigan State, and even the biggest stories in high school sports in the Great Lakes Bay region. 100.9 The Mitt, Mid-Michigan's sports leader.
Why are interscholastic sports called the last classroom of the day? Because they teach students important life lessons like teamwork, accountability, and perseverance. School sports are so much more than a game. They're about developing the whole person. That's why they're an essential part of every student's education.
Encourage your student to participate in the last classroom of the day. Interscholastic sports in Michigan. This message presented by the MHSAA and the Michigan Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association.
The Ben Bosscher Show, powered by the Forward Corporation on 100.9 The Mitt.
All right, we've got 2 traditions to close out every single show. The first of them being the lock of the day.
Lock of the day.
You better lock it up. No, you lock it up. Lock it up. Lock it up. Lock it up.
Kyle, I am ice cold when it comes to the lock of the day, and it saddens me really to tell the people about that from the bottom of my heart. And I just want the people to know, when you lose, I lose. When I give out the locks, I am also losing. So this isn't just me throwing out picks. This is me hurting myself as well. We're gonna heat up at some point. I really believe that from the bottom of my heart. But right now we're a little bit cold.
It's also just a really hard time for the lock of the day. Like, not trying to defend your terrible picks or anything.
Wow.
But
wow,
man, there's not a lot of stuff to say it's a real lock right now. You really have to dive deep into the bag. Spencer Schwellenbach over 5.5 Ks yesterday, goes under. So it's now 4 straight L's, 4 straight days with an L, which is tied for the longest losing streak. You are at your all-time low at minus 2.32 units, and you're obviously starting off the week a full unit under. 6-10 overall record.
I don't care about the record as much as I care about what we're up, you know? And the fact that we've lost 4 straight and are only down how many units?
2.32.
Okay. You know, that's feasible, you know?
So,
it's
like, what
the
are you
Tigers
thinking
building
here? Try
up
to get it all
cushion.
back in one day?
I'm not going to try to get it
up?
back all in one day. But with that being said, I did find something that's a little bit more than even odds that could get us pretty close to back in one day, right? Or is it more?
It's
love
pretty
this bet.
close.
I love this bet that we have today, and it's got a good amount of value on it. Today's lock of the day is Tarek Skubal following a mediocre start for his standards to come back with vengeance at home, to come back with a little bit of anger, violence in the way he's throwing. Tarek Skubal to go no hits, no base runners, perfect through 2 innings today. No walks, no hits, no hit by pitches for 2 innings. 6 up, 6 down. What were the odds on it, Kyle?
Plus 230.
Plus 230. That
Pretty
almost
good
gets
odds,
us
I'd
back.
say.
I couldn't believe when I saw that prop on Generic Sportsbook. I couldn't believe that it was that good a value for him to go 6 up, 6 down against this Athletics team that doesn't strike out a whole lot, but they're basically in the middle of the league. But it's an Athletics team that's young nonetheless and hasn't seen Tarek Skubal this year, and usually that favors Tarek Skubal.
And he also just has done this a good amount of times.
I feel like he does it more often than not. Am I wrong?
Yeah, I would agree. So plus 230, especially for a guy in Tarek Skubal who just never has good odds attached to his name, this is a big-time swing for you.
Well, I was thinking about
respect to get back to near even.
I was thinking about Tarek Skubal strikeouts, and it's like 8.5. Like, this is ridiculous. And he's due to go over
minus
8.5.
110 odds or something.
He's due to go over 8.5 is the thing. Like, he's had 6 strikeouts each of his last 3 outings. So, like, there is a case that he's going to get that double-digit strikeout game eventually. It's just not good at value. So I was like, all right, what else can you do? I was scrolling through some of this Tarek Skubal props and found Tarek Skubal to have a perfect first 2 innings for plus 230. I thought it was fantastic value. So that is going to be our lock of the day.
Lock of the day.
You better lock it up. No, you lock it up. Lock it up. Lock it up. Lock it up.
The other tradition we have to close out every single show is predicting Colin Cowherd's Open. We are on fire with this one. We may be cold on the lock of the day, but we are on fire with this one.
6 straight days of someone guessing Colin's Open. You hit it yesterday to take the lead 5-4 in the all-time series. What was it? Leading with NBA Finals, but you went the route of Halliburton got hurt, so it sucked. And that's basically what he said.
Mm-hmm.
So another day, another hit on the Guessing Colin's Open.
Honestly, I mean, we're competing against each other here. What's the score now? 4-3?
5-4.
5-4. I'm honestly like, I'm hoping if I don't get it today, I hope you get it today to keep this
we're on a run.
streak, 6-day streak alive. Whose turn is it to go first?
It is your turn to go first, which scares me a little bit.
Why? Do you have a good feeling about what he's going to lead with? Because I don't.
No, but like coming off of a win and then getting to go first.
I like going second on days like today where there's just nothing really happened yesterday. It makes me think we're going either back to the NBA Finals or talking Aaron Rodgers or something for the 100th time. This is brutal, man. Like I said, this is like probably the slowest stretch of the year in terms of sports news. So predicting where this guy's going to lead with this, I'm at a loss.
There's always some things you can just classic lean on.
Aaron Rodgers,
Caitlin Clark. Like, you got those things to just throw out there if you have nothing.
Caitlin Clark does play tonight at 10 o'clock. That's not a bad one. I feel like I have to go football here, but there's nothing really going on in the. You know what? Screw it. I'm going back to the NBA Finals. To be a little bit more specific, it can't be an exact repeat of yesterday. Man, I actually, you know what? Here's what I'm going to go with. Cooper Flagg. With the NBA draft tomorrow.
Ooh, there we go.
Cooper Flagg to Dallas is the way I'm going with this. A little outside the box.
He's a big Cooper Flagg is the next Larry Bird guy. He thinks the Mavs are going to be super good next year.
Larry Bird, Cooper Flagg's favorite player to watch.
I think this is a good pick for Wednesday. Like, I might just steal this for tomorrow if he doesn't lead with this. Because the draft obviously is Wednesday. But he could lead with it today.
I'm thinking of something different for tomorrow. But maybe, actually...
the draft is tomorrow.
The draft is tomorrow, yeah. I'll definitely have a draft lock of the day. But
for sure.
I think it's got to be Cooper Flagg. It's the biggest thing going on right now. You.
I feel like he has to somehow lead with the Drew Holiday trade, but I'm just trying to figure out how does he turn that into his Open? Something Boston related.
Yeah, it'd have to be Celtics. Great organization.
But I don't know what the angle is.
Well run.
Yeah, just like Celtics make another banger trade. I don't know. I get that's not really an Open.
This is tough, man. The next couple of weeks before training camp starts is going to be real tough.
Yeah, I'll go with Drew Holiday. Wait, no, it's not Colin today.
Oh,
it's his NFL buddy.
Who?
I forget his name. It's not J-Mac, but it's his NFL buddy.
Oh, that makes me think it's not Cooper Flagg. Can I rescind my pick or no?
I will allow it because I waited to say that till after you said it. It just popped in my head just now.
If it's an NFL guy, quarterback show. That's what I'm going. I'm going with something about the quarterback show.
I believe it's his NFL guy.
If it's his NFL buddy, I'm going to go with a quarterback. Some sort of Netflix coming out with this quarterback thing. I don't like that either, dude. I'm going with my original.
I can't 100% confirm it's his NFL guy. It's not J-Mac.
I'm going with my original thing. I'm just going Cooper Flag.
Okay. You? This is so hard. I will go with, you know what? Haven't seen it yet. Something Mahomes. We haven't heard from Mahomes in a while.
Yeah, that's true. That's kind of where I was going with the quarterback thing.
Yeah. I'll go Mahomes route here.
All right.
I don't think we're getting one today.
I don't think we're getting one either. Cooper Flag and Mahomes are the two directions we're going for predicting Colin's Open, which he's not on. But he starts, the herd starts at noon. So stay tuned. See if one of us is right. See if you're right. Go ahead and send in your You know what? We should ask the people to send in their predictions to 989-837-6125 and get some recommendations for the people to help us out.
Beat us.
Yeah, help us out or beat us to the punch, and you'll get a little shout out. All right, that's going to do it for us today. We are going to be live from the Dow Championship tomorrow. TBD if there will be a YouTube stream or not tomorrow. It may only be radio. That is, again, TBD, because we're going to be live from Midland Country Club covering the Dow Championship, hoping to have a golfer on as well. So something I'm looking forward to as a part of the first month of the Ben Bosscher Show. Already week number 4. This is crazy. All right, everyone. Appreciate you guys tuning in. As always, if you haven't hit that like and subscribe button on YouTube, please do so. We'd appreciate it. It goes a long way. For everyone listening in the Great Lakes Bay region, you guys rock. First of all, I'll see you guys around if you're at the Dow Championship this week. Come say hi. All right. See you later. Bye.
The Ben Bosscher Show, powered by the Forward Corporation on